racing, and we're clean and away. Great stuff. More of that, please.
Pit lane open. Pit lane open. Mind your speed.
Wow, bold move there.
Oh no! I think he's played a blinder here. Side by side. Until he's off the track. What a battle to the end.
Fantastic race. Great team effort. Good job, everybody.
Hello there, welcome to another round of the Asian Le Mans Series. I am Nadia Nash and thank you so much for joining us. Midway point of the season, of course, brings us back here to the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. The race is scheduled at 2 p.m. later today, but for now, we're all fired up for qualifying sessions. The stakes are high and the teams are in it to win it, and we are very excited to see how things unravel. But of course, I will not be here alone. We have our series commentators with us, Graham Goodwin, and also say hello to five-time 24-hour Le Mans winner, Oliver Gavin. Oliver, how are you doing? Are we excited for qualifying sessions?
Hi Nadia, great to hear from you. Great to see you down there in the pit lane. Yes, I'm here in the studio and looking forward to another 2 rounds of the Asia Le Mans Series here at Yas Marina. We had 2 very exciting races in the Dubai Autodrome and had a number of great results there for Nielsen Racing in LMP2. With 2 victories there, and then they also had a victory in LMP3, and so they're really the team in form coming through into this Yas Marina weekend. And so yeah, like I say, 2 more races here to come, and we've got 2 qualifying sessions this morning for every class, and they will set the grid for the race this afternoon, and then also the race tomorrow. Later on in the evening. So the weather is set very fair here. It's been great weather for all the teams to have a number of practice and test sessions out there on track. They had 2 free practice sessions yesterday. They also had some test sessions the day before. They've been working through a number of changes. You can see the current weather here is 19 degrees, very light winds. Humidity is reasonably high, but I think we're going to see a high of 29 degrees here. So that track temperature is going to be coming up, and I think that's going to really be a bit of a challenge for the teams here today. It seems that with the new layout that we have here at Yas Marina, and with the new tarmac, that is really mixing some things up for a number of the runners here, both in all of the classes. And so the Michelin tyres are performing well, but I think the balance change within those cars on track, as the track temperature comes up and then falls away as we go through racing into the night, I think that the teams are going to be dealing, and the drivers in particular, are going to be dealing with really quite a big balance shift. So that's something that you know, those drivers have been trying to get on top of as they've gone through those practice sessions. And so, you know, it's going to be one of those things that these teams are experienced. They've now had that experience at Dubai on the Michelin tyres. And in the Asia Le Mans Series, everybody's just getting themselves nicely dialed in. They've had those extra practice and test sessions. So I think that, you know, we're set for these 2 great qualifying sessions to come here this morning. And we're now going to go to look at the track changes that we've had here and that were made earlier on last year.
Designed and built back in 2009, Yas Marina have taken the bold step to redesign and reconfigure. We're now down at turn 5. Braking zone is a little bit up there, 20 metres wide, but the apex is pulled 40 metres further closer to the pits. I think this is going to create a great opportunity, though, for multi-class racing, side-by-side action, even an undercut round and through and down to turn 6. We're here down on the old track, the old turn 14, That is the apex right there for that corner. But the big change for this year is that up there. Look at that elevation change for the new turn 9 and how banked it is. I think we should go and take a look. Bottle of water here to illustrate the banking here at the newly reconfigured turn 9 here at Yas Marina. I think this corner is going to give a lot of opportunities for cars to run side by side at high speed. Perfect for multi-class racing in the Asian Le Mans Series. I think it's going to be fantastic racing.
That was really interesting. Thank you so much, Oliver, for that little information about the new track layout here in Abu Dhabi. It is going to keep the teams on their toes. But of course, you can see this gentleman right here. Graham Goodwin is our series commentator. Graham, we met in Dubai, but here we are in Abu Dhabi for another 4 or 8 hours. So what can we expect for the second half of the season, Mick?
What we can expect, I think, is what we saw last year with this quickfire series, and that is complete change. We've seen a change in the balance of performance for the dominant GT cars. We've seen the points differences in many of the classes very tight. These two cars, first and second in LMP3, and lots of people pushing to catch up. It's going to be close racing on a brand new Yas Marina circuit.
Right. Now, you, of course, have seen them during free practice and all that. You have all that info right on your fingertips. What can we expect for a qualifying session? But also, think about the new track layout. Is that going to keep them on their toes? Is it more challenging now, or how is it?
What we found is the grip levels on the places where the track has been relayed are very high indeed. We've got a brand new challenge with the United Autosports LMP2 car, and those sessions when they come along. But the reality is, nobody has had much chance to test here at Yas Marina. We're going to see, I think, some very close battles in qualifying, and I think the races to come tonight and tomorrow night are going to be very close indeed.
Fantastic. Now, we're just minutes away from qualifying sessions. Maybe for the benefit of the viewers at home, talk to them about the format of how this is going to go down, qualifying sessions.
It's a quick fire season. It's quick fire qualifying. 10 minutes for each class, back to back. Race 1 and race 2 follow on very quickly from each other, with LMP2, LMP3 and the record 23-car GT field qualifying separately. It's the only chance these cars will get to run cleanly with their own class. After that, this afternoon, it's 3 races in 1 over 4 hours at Yas Marina.
It is going to be exciting, but unfortunately, you're not going to be here with me because you'll be in the studio with Oliver Gavin, of course. Thank you so much, Graham. And of course, now we are so ready for qualifying sessions here in Abu Dhabi.
Well, thank you very much, Nadia and Graham. It's great to hear from you. Great to get the info there on these qualifying sessions that are coming up. You know, we've got the marshals out on the track now that they are just doing their little bit of inspection, but it's not going to be long before we've got cars on track. So we are going to go to the track map now and have a look at this new layout here at Yas Marina. As you can see, highlighted there are the main areas of change down at turn 5 and turn 9. But there's been quite some reconfiguration that they've done there, and I think it's going to present quite a lot of good overtaking opportunities. And so this is 5.281 kilometres and 16 turns. Coming down into turn 1, fast left-hander, opens up into an even quicker left at turn 2, and it's rising up over the crest at 3, really relying on all that downforce in these high-speed corners. Coming down, hard braking now into this new area, which new layout at turn 5. The apex has been pulled back that 40 metres. I think you're going to see the undercut coming down into turn 6, going to present a lot of overtaking opportunities down. It's a long, long straight down at turn 6, really giving multi-class racing opportunities to try and sort themselves out. Tight chicane through 6 and then 7, and then winding round through turn 8. And again, this is now this new turn 9, almost like parabolica here at Monza, where you've got this opportunity to real high-speed entry. Cars coming here in 6th gear, really high speed, then winding that speed down, tightens, and then through and out into turn 10, 11, and then this new slightly reconfigured 13, 14 area around the hotel
hotel, which is a little tricky, out into 15 and then to the final corner at 16 here at Yas Marina. I think it's going to be a great challenge for all of the drivers here this weekend, and 2 rounds of the Asian Le Mans Series. So, yeah, like I say, that it's, as you can see, I mean, it's a beautiful day here in Yas Marina, and it's all set fair for us to have 2 very exciting sessions for each class of 10 minutes, and we're going to see how everybody gets on. I've been joined by Graham Goodwin. Well done for running down here, Graham.
It's my fitness levels have been massively improved by this quickfire format. I'm not in any way out of breath and not in any way other than ready to go. It's going to be a cracking weekend. You're right, beautiful weather out there today. Conditions absolutely perfect. Not swelteringly hot.
No, but I think it's going to get up there. It's going to get up to about 29, I think, today. So it's certainly going to bring a big challenge to the drivers as this track temperature and really builds and comes up. I think that's going to present some challenges for those guys out on track.
But that's going to mean very different track conditions this morning for qualifying and for this evening to the for the 4 hours, the first of 2 4-hour races. And I think, as you've been saying throughout the weekend here, Ollie, it's a very different track, not just the format of the track, the way the track is now laid out with those 3 turns that have been reconfigured, but also the relaying of the track in certain parts. And that's giving teams something to think about in terms of degradation of the tyres. It's a completely different prospect from just last year.
It is. And a number of the drivers have been talking to me about how the cars have been moving and changing as the track temperature has come up, but also and different parts of the racetrack, how the car is driving.
Well, that's what we think from here in the booth. What does the drivers think, and what does it look like from the cockpit of one of the leading cars? Let's go down and have a look from the point of view of the driver of the number 4 Nielsen racing car, double winner in Dubai, now here at Yas Marina.
Hi, I'm Ben Hanley, and this is a hot lap around the Abu Dhabi Yas Marina circuit in the number 4 racing Nielsen LMP2. Through sector 1, it's really important to get a good exit on turn 1 because we're flat out through this high speed over the hill, and the exit here is quite tricky to stay off the curbs, and that is sector 1 done. And then we're heading straight into a new configuration of the circuit. It's much more open and higher speed than previous, and again, the exit's really important as this is the longest straight we have. And it also gives us the highest top speed of around 285 kph. We're then into a really heavy braking zone, so just as late as you can. And then it's a slowest corner of the circuit really is that first part, because you're always trying to, again, get a good exit for the next long straight. And then we're coming into another modified section of the circuit, and it's a lot quicker entry and mid corner. And it's quite tricky around here because the exit's always tightening, so it's difficult to pick up your throttle point. And then we're heading towards the hotel section, which is pretty unique for us in sports car racing to be a street type circuit like this. So it's really cool for us to be able to get around here. Pretty tricky as it's really off camber. And then the last 2 corners of the circuit, the last corner tries to lead your eyes too early because of the pit lane entry, but you get that right, and that's a full lap of the new configuration Abu Dhabi Yas Marina circuit.
Well, thanks for that, Ben. That was great to be on board with you around the Yas Marina track. I was actually in the pit box when Ben came out of the car after his very first run, and I was asking about the changes in the configuration. And actually, the shot we've got right now, I think this is down at turn 14, which is actually not far from your hotel room, is it, Graham?
It's just below my hotel room. It's lovely.
It's a beautiful shot. And Ben was saying about how tricky turn 14 is now, and he had nearly crashed on the very first lap out of the pits.
Off camber, he said.
Yeah, super off camber. The front tyres weren't quite up to temperature, and he nearly ran off the road and straight into the wall there. So I think that's going to present a number of drivers a challenge, particularly on those first laps of the race, but also just getting the tyres up to temp in this qualifying session. So yeah, it's cooler. Track temp is going to be down, but it's going to be certainly building as we go through this session.
It's a really, really tight window for these qualifying sessions. Just 10 minutes per session. And as we said, there's very different grip levels on this track, and there's really tricky. You've got the bank turn we've already seen. That off-camber turn 14 has been catching people out. We're going to have you out there and watching from that corner.
Yeah, can't wait.
A little later in the GT session, so you'll be able to see live from a trackside point of view, or above the track on the bridge point of view. Ollie, the mindset for qualifying, particularly these quick-fire sessions, you're an endurance racer. That your mindset is kind of finely tuned towards long distance, you know, squeezing the best out of the package, but then this is so different.
Yeah, it is, and it's something that I think every driver relishes. You know, getting out on track, low fuel, new tyres. You know, the car's going to be at its best. The track is nice and cool. You know, so these are all the things that you relish as a race driver. Just yourself there with a car in its optimum performance, everything turned up and really ready to go. So it really is that great opportunity. But this opportunity they have here today is these two sessions, but they have to use one set of tyres. And in just that one set of tyres, we saw this in Dubai, there was some drivers who really went hard in that first session, but also some drivers who just held back a little and saved something for that second session. I think TF Sport and Johnny Adam was one of those teams.
Absolutely. Here's number 48, Salatan by Cox Racing Porsche, out of sorts rather. In Dubai, I think it's fair to say. But, Ollie, they're looking to make a bit of a splash now.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've really taken a step forward here this weekend. And I think the first qualifying, or sort of practice sessions they had earlier on in the week, they were struggling a little bit still, but then something happened towards the end of that second test session that they did, and it just all seemed to click into place, and they're now a lot more competitive.
Well, that's a little bit about preparation. It's a little bit about the difference here. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. It's early in the morning as well. Earlier in the morning than we've seen the cars. I'm not sure we've had an early morning session at all.
Not this early, no.
So in terms of, what the heat that's going to be in that track surface, not anywhere near what they've been running with either in testing or in free practice.
And we've seen also that a number of cars, when they've gone out on new tyres, they are taking some time to get to really up to temperature and pressure and performance. But we are now going to go and look at the highlights of the Dubai Autodrome 2 races.
A second 4 hours of action at Dubai Autodrome, and hopes were high amongst the teams as the number 4 Nielsen Racing Orica led away the 35 car field in full daylight, but not for long. There was a quick spin for the number 22 Rinaldi Duquesne, almost collecting the Conrad Ginetta quite close to the start, and big action again in the GT3 class with the number 17 AF Corsa car harassing the number 6 AMG. Night falls very quickly here in Dubai, and it wasn't long before we're racing under the not very many lights here at the Dubai Autodrome. In GT, it came down to a battle on track between the 17 and the 55 Ferraris. That was settled not with a pass, but with a penalty for the 17 AF Corsa Ferrari. That's gifting the win to the 55, with the 17 coming home third, and the Inception Racing McLaren, winners yesterday here at Dubai Autodrome, finishing second. That's going to leave it very close in the points. The number 2 DKR Engineering car again dominated on the road, but again suffered problems of the reliability nature. They would finish outside the points. That left the number 8 Nielsen Racing Ligier to take a famous double-class win for the team. Tony Wells and Colin Noble taking the win ahead of 2 CD Sport cars. The team that finished 1-2 yesterday finished 2-3 on Sunday. Overall, it was a run to the flag and a run to the win from the number 4 Nielsen Racing car. Second place and the win in LMP2 AM from the 49 High Class Racing car. And third place for the number 39 Graf Racing Orica. A far closer fought battle after problems in the pits for the Nielsen Racing team, but ultimately they had enough in the bank to bring it home comfortably for that brilliant double class win. LMP2 and LMP3 both falling to the team from the UK. Ben Hanley, Matt Bell and Rodrigo Sales take a second win.
There from Dubai, and we're now looking at the Optimum car here in the garage, getting prepared for qualifying. So this is, I believe, Joe Osborne is going to be behind the wheel of the optimum car for this qualifying session. He certainly was in Dubai, and these guys have had a very successful Asian Le Mans series so far, and been very quick. The Inception car had a win in a second place, and the optimum car had 2 fourth places, really battling drives there by the whole driving crew. And, you know, I think that they fought very hard. Nick Moss and Andrew Watson, and then we've got Joe Osborne into the finish. Yeah, there in Dubai. I think he did an exceptional job.
The most frustrating place in motorsport, 4th place twice. And in fact, that second 4th place, the 17 car having dominating, getting that late race penalty for track limits for Vincent Abril. And then out he pops straight into the headlights of Joe Osborne. It was really like a bit of Formula Deja vu for the night before. But we've had some thrilling stuff, particularly the GT classes. I don't see any sign whatsoever that that's going to change here. We're going to have the race under lights. And how bright are the lights at Yas Marina? Well, let's put it this way. Notice the teams I spotted yesterday. It's so bright that you don't apply the regulations for running at night. So the drivers don't need to qualify as if they're at night.
Right.
Because the brightness is at a level
which
they can deal with.
A real relief for some of the less experienced drivers, because I know that in Dubai, there was a number of drivers who were really struggling with those night sessions and that nighttime race running. And it was really hard to see where they were going.
That's the iconic W Hotel, a key part, of course, of the arena here. And this is the 2 times race winning, 2 times pole setting, number 4 Nielsen racing car.
I think they're going to be battling for that pole position today, because we've got this new entry here for this weekend in United Autosports.
Yeah, and that is going to be young Josh Pearson. We'll come to Josh and chat about Josh shortly. And Paul Di Resta, ex-Formula 1 driver, of course, and storied career, Paul, DTM and into sports cars with real success coming quickly for the Scotsman. He's here mentoring and bolstering the effort from 16-year-old Josh Pearson. That's going to be the competition that this team, the number 4 Nielsen Racing team, are going to measure themselves against as they move towards looking pretty set fair at the moment for what might well be a championship run. They need to keep it on the grey stuff and get to the finish of these 2 races. But also beyond that, a European season to come, and probably now, a Le Mans 24 hours start for the second time in 3 years for Nielsen Racing.
Yes, we did see the driver lineup earlier on the weekend, didn't we, Graham? And they were all, relaxed, but confident in going into this weekend. That they are in control of the LMP2 Championship at the moment, and but all of the drivers, Matt Bell, Rodrigo Sales, and then Ben Hanley, we saw they're doing that on-board lap and talking us through this Yas Marina circuit. They all seemed confident and happy with the way things were going, and looking forward to this weekend.
This is the G-Drive Racing LMP3 car. Remember last year here, LMP2 with the G-Drive colours. This time LMP3. Graf Racing handling this effort. There will be another G-Drive liveried LMP3 car in the European Le Mans Series, but with a different team, Euro International. Another team we've been used to seeing here in the Asian Le Mans Series. It's not to say we won't see the multiple championship winning colours in LMP2. We will in Europe, again with APR in the WC and in the European Le Mans Series. But great to see this effort out there. These were guys that were beginning to find the groove, Ollie, in the second race. We've got a lot of new names here.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that the teams are using this Asian Le Mans Series, this format in particular, to introduce new combinations, new drivers, new cars, new teams. And what we saw in race 2 was it was confidence and pace coming from some of those drivers and combinations that we didn't see in race 1 at Dubai.
Yeah, I think race 1 in Dubai, everybody was a little bit eyes out on stalks, just trying to deal with, racing there at the Dubai Autodrome and racing under the lights, or not so many lights. And, it was tricky, tough. The conditions there, sandy. It was the track surfaces are always also quite slippery and not greasy, but it's just slick with those sand particles getting onto the track and getting in between the surface of the tyre and the track. And so, yeah, it was, I think, a number of drivers who were just learning new machinery, trying to get their head around multi-class racing, just getting going again after maybe just quite some break of being out of a race car, and getting themselves used to being back behind the wheel. And so by the time we got to race 2, I think people were a lot more comfortable, more in the zone, and really ready to go racing.
Yeah, I think LMP3 in particular, we saw it was just completely topsy-turvy. Cars that had been dominant, one car in particular, DCAR Engineering, with major issues in both races. They've completely rebuilt that car, brand new wiring loom in that car. Imagine this as a kind of parallel. You've got a bit of a problem with the electrics at home, so let's rewire the house. It's sort of an automotive version of that.
Yeah.
They effectively have built it up almost as a new car. Frustration for them, they're effectively out of the title fight.
Yes, they are.
You know, I mean, astonishingly, CD Sport 1 and 2, after just reliable and quick running through both races, that's a team that's kind of coming together nicely. And their plans, I hope, for 2022 can be more crystallised moving forward. Now, came here with just the Asia Le Mans Series on their calendar. I hope this is going to elevate them to more and better things.
We're talking about teams with new cars. Garage 59 are here this weekend with 2 McLaren 720Ss. That's a new machinery for them, and they are very much using the Asia Le Mans Series as a sort of test and something that they are going about working the 720S McLaren out and getting their drivers into, again, multi-class racing, the Asia Le Mans Series, running in Dubai, running on Yas Marina, and so just bedding themselves into this format. And they are slowly, again, another team that's working their way up the order. And I think that these guys are going to be far more of a force here at the Yas Marina track.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the 59 car is up to speed today. It was having troubles yesterday after a fairly significant hit between the 59 and the 49 high-class racing car, which I think Manuel Maldonado it was in that car, and from what we have seen and understood, I think might well be actually putting the fickle finger of fate pointing somewhat in Manuel's direction.
Yeah, I think that he was maybe going a little slow, and then he got caught out a little bit sort of offline, and then trying to get back to the line, and it was just a case of 2 cars coming together on the same piece of tarmac, closing speeds really very high, and contact, and they had right front damage there on the 720S McLaren, and the 59 car was then out for the rest of that session.
It was,
and it developed a problem within its power steering, which they then had to change as well.
So
James Vowles is in that car, and he was the driver who actually went out and shook the car down after that initial repair, but reported back that they'd still got a steering.
So for those joining us for the first time here at Yas Marina, you might want to explain that name, James Vowles. Who is James Vowles?
Well, he is the strategist for Lewis Hamilton for Mercedes F1. So
he knows Yas Marina.
He does know Yas Marina, absolutely. It was an absolutely lovely chat. Had a great chat with him earlier on in the week, and he's coming here. He's learning all about sports car racing, and he's a fantastic man to talk to. Obviously, extremely intelligent and loving his racing, and really enjoying driving and competing. And yeah, he was another driver that was really sort of eyes a little bit out on stalks in Dubai, but just absolutely soaking it all up, learning, wanting to improve. And I think that we're going to see another step forward from him this weekend here at Yas Marina.
Should be said, a couple of changes to the entry. We talked about the United Autosports car. Here we got the number 69 car, the Oman Racing, what we like to term the Quality Street car.
Beautiful
because of
car.
The purple wrapping. It's one of our favourites.
It is my favourite.
As in terms of the colour. This one of now 23. It's a further record. 22 cars in the GT class at Dubai. Increases to 23 with the return to action of the 74 Kessel racing car. This car, though, has been in the mix, really. And again, I keep kind of coming back to memories of last year here, where the established order in GT was just turned on its head by dint of coming to a very different circuit.
Yeah.
And we saw the Aston Martins in the mix there. We saw the McLarens in the mix at Yas Marina last year, where at Dubai they'd been there and thereabouts, but certainly not dominant. And I do wonder whether or not we're going to see that again. There have been those balance of performance changes for both the McLarens and the Aston Martins. They've both lost, I think, a little bit of turbo boost across the range.
Yes, fully across the range, isn't it? And so I think that that's going to be certainly denting the performance of both of those cars. But I think, talking to a number of the drivers again, I think that TF Sport and the Aston Martins are going to be performing well here this weekend. And the Porsches are certainly seem to be further closer to the front. I think the real dark horse for me is the Mercedes.
Yeah.
They have been quick in every session when I've been out on track watching them. The car just looks easy to drive, and it's like a nice big window for the drivers. You can brake a little bit later in points and still catch the car. You can get yourself on the power nice and early, and the thing doesn't bite you as you're trying to get off the corner. It just seems that the drivers just have a bigger window to drive that car, and it's working the
that's only
tyre
going to get
really
better,
really nicely.
It's only going to get better over 4 hours of racing. So if you actually can be in that rhythm, that more relaxed, particularly for the non-professional drivers,
absolutely,
that's going to be
and ultimately,
an advantage.
That is where you win and lose these races. It's how the non-professional driver performs and how he can carry that speed and bring the car back to the pit lane exactly as he left the pit lane or rolled off from the grid. You know, you need to be able to deliver that car in the best possible way to your teammate so that he can then take it on and finish or do another stint. And that's the thing about being in a team and working as a team, and you know, delivering this multi-class racing. It's tough, it's hard, it's brutal racing out there.
We're just over 4 minutes to start of qualifying. Tell us a little bit, Ollie, about these moments before you get into the car with that focused, low fuel, new tyres run. You get someone slap me about a bit, you know, what they do to get in the zone. How do you deal with it? How do you think most of these other guys deal with that mental preparation for what is, you've got to be on it right away?
You do absolutely have to be on it right away, and I think you're going to need to use all of the session and all of the time available to you. So I think you're going to see everybody leaving the pit lane as soon as they possibly can, just to make sure that they can get the tyres up to temperature and up to pressure, to make sure that you can get out on track and give yourself as much time to, you know, get as many laps in as you possibly can. It is one of the best moments in motorsport. It's one of the best times that you have as a driver, is going out onto track. And this morning in particular will present a great opportunity. They've been used to running with quite hot track temperatures and quite hot conditions. This morning's that little bit cooler. The track temperature's down. Things should come alive really nicely. You get that little bit of extra bite from the tyre when it's these cooler conditions. You get that feeling of really you can attack the corners, and particularly a corner like turn 9 and this new configuration here at Yas Marina. You know, just that little bit of extra confidence you get from that bite from the tyre means you can just not throw the car in, but you can attack that corner a little bit harder. So all these things, all these triggers, all these feels that you get as a driver, it's super special. Seen Joe Osborne on board there in the number 42 car. I think we predicted that he would be taking this qualifying session. So he's another one. He had a great weekend in Dubai, and I'm sure he wants to follow that up with another strong weekend here in this Optimum car that he shares with Andrew Watson and Nick Moss.
So is this going to be the same cars dominating here? Are we going to be seeing a turnaround in fortunes for the Porsches, for the Audis, for that matter, for the Mercedes AMG, for the Aston Martins, in the way that we did last year with that turnaround? Or are we going to see status quo from Dubai? I think it's going to be the former. I think we're going to see a bit of a turnaround here. Circuit looks stunning this morning. The drivers will be absolutely up for it, but it's about getting everything warmed up. The tyres, the cars,
themselves.
Indeed. For what is just 10 minutes to set pole position. So to remind you again, as we're now under 2 minutes to qualifying, it's actually just a little over that. It can be 3 minutes till pit exit opens. It will be 10 minutes, this first session, for race 1. It'll be the GT and GT AM cars out first. Then the LMP3 cars will follow. 2 10-minute sessions for race 1 and race 2. Then finally, the 5 LMP2 and LMP2 AM cars will go out for the final 10 minutes of qualifying.
I think there's another thing here that we're going to see in this qualifying session and throughout this weekend, and we saw it in Dubai, track limits.
Yes.
It's something that a number of the GT runners had to deal with, and Eduardo, after that first race in Dubai,
Indeed.
we saw him, didn't we, after the race, and Eduardo said every 12 seconds we were seeing a track limits violation, and it could well be that we see this a similar pattern here, but let's hope not. Let's hope it's going to be a little bit more under control here. But yeah, we will have to see. But certainly a couple of the GT runners I was talking to earlier on today, they said track limits, that's going to be another big story.
It strikes me that we're very likely to be welcoming new viewers to the Asian Le Mans Series right here, and that's because of the name you just mentioned. Eduardo Freitas, of course, mentioned as part of the new broom that's going to be into Formula One race control. And I'm sure there's going to be a number of Formula One followers that are going to be keen to see just what the touch is of Eduardo in the way in which he directs a race, I think we can make that pretty clear, which is he makes himself very clear.
He does.
And
He
that
does.
he's consistent with that.
And I think that's the thing that the drivers like about Eduardo, and that sometimes maybe they don't, because he is quite clear and straightforward and to the point, and he makes his rules very, very clear. So I think it's a great appointment.
I think it's a great appointment. He's beloved by the endurance racing community. We wish him well on that journey. We wait to find out just what else he'll be able to squeeze into I've no doubt, packed calendar. But good to see that the good guys, in this case Eduardo Freitas, getting that opportunity on the absolutely global stage, in addition to what he's been doing with the FI World Endurance Championship. We are pit lane open now for the start of qualifying for GT and GT-AM. They're not all gone blasting down pit lane straight away.
They'll all be waiting for their tyres to come out of the warmers that they've got behind the pit boxes, so they're allowed to run tyre warmers here, or the ovens, which they can put their wheels and tyres into to preheat them, so that when they come out and to start a qualifying session, that they are putting those heated tyres on, and they can go out of the pits and they can be on it straight away. And it does make a nice difference leaving the pit lane with warm tyres. Warm new sticker tyres, as they say, is something that every driver looks forward to.
Yeah, first few cars now out on track. The first out there is the bright green 48 Salasan by Cox Racing car in the hands of Peter Cox. The evergreen Peter Cox with the very green Porsche. The Valkenhurst Motorsports GT-AM effort is out in the hands of Jörg Breuer. The 57 Kessel Racing car, Axel Jeffries will be handling that car. Axel we saw last year in the GPX Porsche, came very close to winning the title. He's here with Kessel this year. YC Panda in the hands of Jean-Francois Bruneau. Not French, but American Jean-Francois Bruneau. SPS Automotive Performance dominating at the moment in GT-AM. They're out with Michael Grenier, a newly acknowledged. Just move to the right there, Birdie. Don't go any further there. That's not what we want to see.
No.
The wrong place to cross. Herbeth Motorsports 99, Marcos Seefried. Alex Aka from Attempto Racing is in the 96. Audi 95's TF Sports Aston Martin is Johnny Adam. The 88 Garage 59 McLaren Marvin Kirchhoffer. Also out now, it's Arja Maini and the number 6 HRT AMG. Ben Barnicoat. Stellar performance from Ben in both races at Dubai. He's out in the number 7 Inception Racing McLaren. Dynamic Motorsport, but Ben Barker aboard the number 12 Porsche. They're in much better form here. Herbeth Motorsports number 33, that's the purple car. Klaus Bachler takes that one out. The 34, the pro car from Valkenhurst Motorsport, this brand new BMW M4 GT3 is in the hands of Nicky the Cat Katzberg.
It's going to stick.
It is going to stick. We're going to make it stick. 55's Rinaldi Racing car, another car really on form, just 1 point off the championship lead held at the moment by the Inception Racing McLaren. That is in the hands of Davide Rigon. Nicola Kiergaard is in the other Garage 59 car, the 59 car. Charlie Eastwood is in the 69 Quality Street liveried Oman Racing Aston Martin. In the 74 returning, it is Mikkel Jensen, the Dane there aboard the Ferrari. We'll see him later this season in the Peugeot hypercar, part of that effort. Tom Gamble in the 77 D Station Racing. Marvin Kirchhoffer in the 88 Garage 59 car, and completing the field, it is the number 91 car, the championship winning car of last year, and it is Robert Renard, one of the two Renard twins, aboard the number 91 Porsche. And we are starting with the fast laps now.
Yeah, certainly they've got themselves lined up with all the gun drivers in, and we'll wait to see some representative lap times put down. The Attempto car, the Audi R8, it's had a bit of a troubled first couple of rounds of the Asia Le Mans series. They weren't very quick in Dubai, and they seem to just be running into issues and problems. Track limits was an issue, one of those issues that they were having, but yeah, they haven't really got it all together yet. So we're waiting to see if this new layout suits the Audi R8. It's not really been towards the front of the timing,
no,
or the top of the timing sheets, have they really?
There's been a bit of discipline issues. They had that back-to-back penalties for track limits that really hampered them pretty early, actually, at Dubai in the second race. And let's wait and see what this car, not by the way in the Evo 2 configuration here. I think there's all sorts of logistical challenges for everyone at the moment, and motorsport is no different. So the Evo 2 version of this car with customers will debut a little later this season. Already we're getting the first lap deletion, and it is the first flying lap for the number 66 car. The one car, by the way, we missed, mentioned there, is the number 51 car. Why would we miss the 51? Because it's got Alessandro Pierguidi, the reigning FIA WC World Drivers' Champion, aboard that car, with a pair of drivers from Puerto Rico, delighted to say. Victor Gomez and our friend Francesco Pianvanetti.
And so this is the new section here that they've just reconfigured slightly. The Herberth car coming through turn 14. Yeah, the off camber there. There's a bridge I'm going to be on a little bit later in the second session. Coming through and down into turn 15. In qualifying, this turn 15 should be just a bit of a lift before then hard on the brakes into this final corner. And you can see cars squirming around, you know, as they're trying to get everything up to pressure and temperature and trying to deal with the ABS and actually try not to trip over one another here. They're going to get each other's way, I believe. Briefly had Peter Cox top of the times with the 48 Porsche, but the quick times, the really quick times, are now coming in. It's Michael Grenier at the moment, SPS Automotive, the GTM entry, 151.232, almost exactly half a second up on Johnny Adam in the TF Sport car, but Ben Barnicoat closes that by about half. It's just over a quarter of a second now, the gap. Remember, qualified for race 1 at Dubai, times were identical, and for race 2, times were 0.003 different for the top 2 cars. Are we going to get anywhere close to that here? Well, Grenier from Barnicoat, from Johnny Adam, from Nicky Katzberg, the top 4. Tom Gamble pops up 3rd quickest. And Klaus Bachler goes to the top, first man under 151 in that purple 33 Herberth Motorsport car. Lots of laps being deleted, though. Yeah, we are. At turn 3 and at turn 7, it seems to be they're the 2 spots where we're seeing the infringements and the extra use of track. And so that was car 59 and car 48 that have had laps deleted. Yeah, so all bar 4, rather, the 23 cars have so far set a qualifying lap. It's a big spread, though, 8 seconds from the fastest to the least quickest. But still waiting for where the real performance is going to be coming here. Tom Gamble's on a quick one right now, so is Johnny Adam. So 2 of the TF Sport Run Aston Martins. In fact, all 3 of those cars, they are 4th, 5th and 6th quickest at the moment, the Astons. They're going well at the moment. Yeah, they are, and they were quick, and they were, again, just hunting sort of together in the practice sessions, and it looked like they were just waiting just to really pull the trigger. But I think that they're all going to be doing their fastest lap on the final lap of this session. So the 33 car in trouble in Dubai, failed to finish the second race with a gearbox problem, but is going very well this morning. Klaus Bachler not on a quick lap here, will not, I don't think, improve here. Johnny Adam goes second quickest in the number 95 TF Sport car. So it's Herberth Motorsport 33, this car from the 95, the red Aston Martin. Then it's the black AMG, the 20 car, up into third Ben Barnicoat now. So it's 50.978, plays 51.142, and then 3,000th difference again to Ben Barnicoat. Yeah, it is. It's impressive how close they all are, and you know, I think that we're just watching the 33 car here. That's the Herberth car just coming on to start another lap. Gamble goes second, it's 43 thousandths off. So it's Bachler from Tom Gamble now. D-Station Racing on the front row provisionally. 2 minutes to go in this qualifying session, plus, of course, the lap they're on. If they've crossed the line before the checkered flag, this is going to be tight. Michael Grenier is on a quick one now. Vincent Abril improves, but he's only 7th. And we've not yet seen a lap from Alessandro Pierguidi. I've no doubt he's got something to say in this session. There's no doubt. He should make the lap he's on plus 1 more. So it's still only Bachler under 151, 150.978. But the lap times are beginning to get hotter and hotter here. Charlie Eastwood's on a quick one. Michael Grenier, as we say, is on a quick one. There's going to be some very tight battles here. I think Charlie Eastwood's on a very good lap here. He's just done the fastest sector, first sector for anyone, gone purple. Let's see if he can back it up in that second sector. But yeah, there's still a lot of improvement to come there from many, many drivers. Into the final minutes on the clock. And we're waiting for more of those laps to come through. Bachler, Gamble, Adam, Barnicoat. Grenier goes to the top. It's Michael Grenier in the GTM
championship leading car, a 150.935, 43 thousandths per second. In fact, it's the same gap between first and second and third. 43 thousandths between both of those positions. It is Mercedes-AMG.
Charlie Eastwood's up by 2 tenths.
From Porsche, from Aston Martin, from another Aston Martin, from then the first of the McLaren, the Inception Racing car, then it's Charlie Eastwood's car, but he's on a quick one now. So is Klaus Bachler.
Yeah.
So it's between at this stage, as the clock is going to be ticking down in just 15 seconds to the end of the session. They've still got the lap they're on to complete. Who's going to squeeze another one in here?
I think Charlie will get another.
Bachler goes to the top, 2 tenths up almost. Tom Gamble has bailed out from this one. He'll do no better than third, but Klaus Bachler goes third. Charlie Eastwood goes third.
Oh, he made it over the line, didn't need to start another lap, so he's going to get one more.
He's got to get one more lap. It's 150.755 now is the mark to beat. It's a good lap underway at the moment for Michael Grenier. What can Charlie Eastwood do about this in third? This is the SBS Automotive Performance car. It's top of the shop here until Klaus Bachler improved, and it's topping the GTM standings.
He's got a slow second sector, though.
Yeah.
Michael Grenier.
Johnny Adam is on a cracker here as well. He's up.
Yeah.
So Johnny Adam could do this. Charlie Eastwood could do this. So 2 Aston Martins currently out there at the moment that are up on time on the sectors they've completed.
Yeah.
And here's one of them. This is the 69 car. This is Charlie Eastwood. What can he do about the challenge? Is he?
Looks to me like he's
slow.
He's backed off.
He's backed off, hasn't he?
I think that's it for him.
But Johnny Adam certainly has not backed off. The 17 car from Vincent Abril has crossed the line to take the checkered flag. He will do no better than 7th. SPS Automotive take the checkered flag. It's Johnny Adam! Johnny Adam goes to the top. And he goes to the top by just under 2 tenths of a second. It is a 150.576. Aston Martin to the top of the times.
Nice lap there from Johnny Adam. Really delivered there on that final lap and strung together all 3 sectors, all personal bests and outright fastest in the second sector. Great lap there by Johnny Adam.
What a turnaround. So that's 2 pole positions now for Johnny Adam, the number 95 car. Did so in the second race in Dubai. At the moment, it's Johnny Adam looking there. There's going to be no improvement from Klaus Bachler. Michael Grenier in the AMG at the moment 3rd. Charlie Eastwood has lifted off and will do no better than 4th. That's a great result in any case for him. So Aston Martin from Porsche, AMG, Aston Martin, then the first of the McLaren, the Inception Racing car, then the second of the AMGs with Yas Marina, then the first of the Ferraris, the number 17 car, and Alessandro Pierguidi, 9th quickest. Rounding up the top 10, it's another Ferrari. The other car that's been in the championship fight, Davide Rigon, can do no better than 10th. So weren't quite right that it was going to be an utter turnaround. Johnny Adam was in good form in qualifying at Dubai, but everywhere else in that top 10, it's a very, very different look. And I don't know about you, but that's got me excited already.
It's great. You know, we are seeing a little bit of a mix-up, but I think that, you know, I saw Tom Ferrier a little bit earlier on in the weekend, and he had a little bit of a smile on his face, and I think that he was quietly confident about their performance. But, you know, hopefully... I think we're going to see a nice, close race here. I think it's very, very close in qualifying. And I think we're looking forward to the race.
Right, so Oliver is now going to leave us in the booth as I talk about the wind down from this session, the preparation for the next. And as we did with Dubai, Oliver's going to be trackside. He's going to be on the bridge, the overbridge, after turn 14, just describing the action, talking about the challenges of this reconfigured Yas Marina circuit at the start of the next session. So yet again, he gets the really good job. But I get an even better one because I get to talk about these fantastic cars and drivers coming back into pit lane after really great 10 minutes there, but another 10 minutes to come very shortly indeed. And these 23 cars will have relished that opportunity with new tyres, with low tanks, with no prototype traffic to deal with. And been hearing, by the way, from a number of the GT drivers that here in particular, the similarity in pace between the LMP3 cars, and particularly the top speed of the P3 cars, they believe is going to prove to be a real challenge as we get into this race. So 2 4-hour races to come this weekend, 4 hours this evening and 4 hours tomorrow. It's one more minute until pit lane opens, so it's a quick fire turnaround. Most of these teams will use the same drivers, they use the same set of tyres. And for race starts, wherever you are in the world, take a look at the Asian Le Mans Series website, take a look at the social media pages, whether or not it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All the information you require will be there so that you can follow live and free around the world the Asian Le Mans Series once again, throwing open the doors electronically to anybody that wants to follow. And we're delighted to have, again, a massive international audience for this championship. This format has been popular as the planet emerges from difficult times. It's great to be back with our Asian Le Mans Series family here. And we hope that once we can get to more normal times, that we'll see more and more people joining us trackside and back to some of the traditional marketplaces for the Asian Le Mans Series. Delighted, by the way, that we do have spectators here at Yas Marina, as we did at Dubai. And if you can hear us trackside, welcome. And I do hope you're enjoying your day in the sun with these magnificent race cars. We are already underway with Race 4 GT qualifying. So Ollie will be sprinting like a young gazelle down to the bridge to take the start of this qualifying session. There's a 57 car, 57 still in the hands of Axel Jeffries, Zimbabwean driver based here in the UAE. And there's been seen a huge range of machinery over the last 12 months or so. LMP3, the Conrad Motorsports, Lamborghini Huracan. Franz Conrad here, of course, with the Ginetta P3 we'll see later. He's team managing that one, or rather he's overseeing the engineering on that one with team manager Ralf Juttner. But Axel, quite a talent. Originally meant to be in that Ginetta, but an offer came in to take part in this 57 Kessel racing car, one of two. Delighted to say that the 74 car is back after illness prevented the car from racing in either of the races in Dubai. So all back in fine fettle, comes down now through 12, 13, 14 under the bridge, the iconic bridge at the W Hotel here. And it is astonishing the difference that these changes have actually made to this circuit. If you've not seen the little film that Ollie filmed the other evening to show just how different it is, how banked that new turn 9 is, how different it is down at the South Hairpin. Take a look, because I have to tell you, it was a major surprise to me, the scope of the change here. Cars now getting underway for the first of flying laps. Looking up and down here, every car is out on track, 23 cars for this 37 car entry. So 23 of them in this GT class. GT3 spec for all of these cars. That's the future for international sports car racing across the board. So we're seeing the cars from our perspective. Let's go down trackside, and Oliver Gavin now down in the shadow of the W Hotel.
Graham, thank you very much. I'm down here on the bridge, over in between turns 14 and turns 15. I'm just in front of the W Hotel. This is the qualifying session here for GT, the second one. As the cars are coming through turn 14, so we've got the Attempto car coming off of here. He's supposed to be doing about 140 k's on the exit there, 160 k's as he goes underneath, and then as he gets up to turn 15, he's close to 180 k's. So we've got the Walkenhurst car coming, we've got the Kessel car coming. These guys are just getting themselves up to speed. They're trying to find maybe a nice clear spot on the racetrack. There's the HRT car as he whips past us, the Kessel car. And here is the Oman racing car, SBS, Optimum. Joe Osborne following us through to turn 15 there. He's just trying to find a spot on the track to get his qualifying lap going. So the Porsche coming through and off, he's getting nice and close to the exit. As he's coming through out of the corner, it's about 140 Ks as he gets up to the barrier here. So he's using all the road. Second gear, as the Cox racing car comes off of there, he's getting all of the road, getting nice and close to the barrier. He's wanting to make sure he's using everything he possibly can to build the speed up into turn 15 and make sure that he is using every bit of ounce of speed from the race car.
Thanks very much, Ollie. Wish I was down there. It looks fantastic. We've seen cars on track. It is so loud here. But we're already getting fast laps coming in. And as I speak, Alessandro Pierguidi goes to the top in the number 51. Of course, a Ferrari, a 151.559. That's immediately bettered, and by a distance, by the number 95 car. Could it be double pole for TF Sport? Johnny Adam has given it a good go. It's a 150.764. He's 8 tenths up on Pierguidi's first effort. So it's Adam from Pierguidi from Vincent Abril, the 2F Corsa cars, second and third at the moment. And remember, same tyres. Is it going to be about how they've managed the rubber, the Michelin rubber here in these quick-fire 10-minute sessions? Still Johnny Adam to the top. Davide Rigon makes it another Ferrari, so it's the Aston Martin fending off the close attentions of 1, 2, 3 and 3 Aston Martins. Now it's Herbeth Motorsports. Again, another car that was quick in session 1. Klaus Bachler just under half a second back. So Johnny Adam from Klaus Bachler, Davide Rigon, Alessandro Pierguidi, Vincent Abril, and Mikkel Jensen now comes and joins the fight. Arjun Maini now runs fifth. Really, the laps are coming piling in, but no one within half a second of Johnny Adam until Charlie Eastwood. It's Aston Martin 1-2 now. TF Sport from Oman Racing. Michael Grenier in the AMG car, the SPS Performance car, but improvement again from Johnny Adam. It's a 150.764. He's still the only man under 151. Charlie Eastwood with a 150.0. Michael Grenier, 150.2. And just a couple of thousandths off that, Klaus Bachler. So it's Aston Martin, AMG, Porsche, then two Ferraris, then the AMG, another Ferrari, then the BMW in 9th, and Ben Barker, the dynamic Porsche, in 10th at the moment. It's a real mixed bag. Charlie Eastwood at the moment, though, is on course to close that gap very dramatically indeed to his TF Sport mate, Johnny Adam. The 95 car, pole for race 1. We're 3 minutes to the end of this session. And where is the pace coming from? Right now, it's coming from Charlie Eastwood. And Charlie looking potentially here to be quick enough to get onto terms. But that's until Johnny Adam extends the gap again. It's half a second and more now for Johnny Adam. So it's a 150.557 from the Scots. Great stuff from Johnny Adam in this one. Davide Rigon, though, is the latest man to go quicker, but not as quick as Johnny Adam. He closes the gap to just under half a second. Klaus Bachler halves that gap again. It's a quarter of a second now. Both those men would have been on provisional pole had Adam not improved his pace. But Johnny Adam appears to have lost his qualifying laps. All of them. We'll keep an eye on that. Is that a timing glitch, or is that track limits? Klaus Bachler now goes to the top of timing and scoring. So after a set of 3 quick laps from Johnny Adam, they've all disappeared, and he sits at the moment without a time to his name. So Klaus Bachler it is at the top of timing and scoring right now. We did say about track limits and Eduardo Freitas, so if that's not a timing glitch, and it doesn't appear to be so, then the Aston Martin dreams of a double pole may well have gone to ashes. Bachler then, 150.811, 2 tenths up on Arjun Maini now in the AMG. He won't improve on this lap because trouble there passing one of the 2 BMWs. The 33 Herbeth Motorsport car tops the times. Arjun Maini from Davide Rigon from Charlie Eastwood. Charlie was second and looking potentially on pole position pace just a few moments ago. That's how quickly it's changing. Maini is on a quick lap here. It could be that that's good enough. I don't think quite. Oh, and the BMW just running off at turn 12, running wide. 35 car, I think. Pierre Guidi's given up on this one. He's pitted the 51 car. Still Backler from Miney, waiting for the Indian driver in the number 6 HRT car to come through and to complete that lap. I don't think it's quite enough. Ollie joined me back in the booth.
That's good to be back. A little bit of a run around.
Yeah, but he's a trained athlete and in no way will be showing the strain of the gazelle-like sprint from the bridge between turn 14 and 15. 27 seconds lap left, plus, of course, the lap that they're on. That was Arjun Maini completing the lap. There's no improvement there from him. So at the moment, running second overall in this session. Has anybody got anything left? Vincent Abrili's on a quick one.
I think
Tom Campbell's on a quick one.
Yeah, I think most guys will have seen the best from their tyre, and it's just all about putting a lap down in the session and then just getting back to the pit lane. I think it's going to be tough to improve from here.
And watch for the foiled, to this point, Johnny Adam. He's on a very quick one. Can he steal this one back? He's on a lap the moment that is on pole position pace. He had a 150.5 in the books before that was ripped from his grasp for track limits. Let's see whether or not that can be improved. We're going to get improved times right at the flag here, I think, Ollie.
Yep.
The checker flag is out, but the cars out there, multiple cars out there on quick laps at the moment.
Arjun Maini's on a quick one. See if he can improve. Oh, Johnny Adams gone P2.
59 thousandths of a second, so 150.870. Didn't quite convert on the third sector there. Arjun Maini slightly balked there through the bank turn 9.
Yeah, I think that could blunt his effort to get Russell back, either P1 or P2. Yeah, he's improving, but he's not looking like he's going to have enough.
So Backler at the moment looking set fair to claim pole position here. Are we going to get dramas right at the end? Here comes Backler to complete his final lap. He may just improve here a little, you know. So 150.811, he does,
yes.
And by a couple of tenths, 150.670, exactly 2 tenths to the thousandth ahead of Johnny Adam. Where is Arjun Maini going to finish this lap? It did look slightly more pedestrian, didn't it? Through.
He's still at his personal bests.
He's pitted the car.
Oh, he has.
He's pitted the car. So Backler looks like he is going to take pole position in what was a topsy-turvy session. Johnny Adam, having driven away at the start of that session, then had those laps deleted, had to do it all again and couldn't quite make it back to the pace that he was showing earlier. It's a 150.670 will set pole position in this for Sunday's race here at Yas Marina, and it will be Klaus Backler in the Herbeth Motorsport 33 Porsche that will claim that pole position in the car that he shares with Antares Au and with our reigning overall champion, Ifeye.
He's, I think it'll be a strong effort. It's going to be tough to beat. Those boys, the Porsche is definitely quicker here this weekend. It's certainly bounced back from quite a disappointing Dubai, but they are right to the front this weekend.
Great to see it, and another stellar display there, Klaus Backler.
There's a bit of a message there on the bottom of the timing screen saying we are still investigating some of the track limits from some of those laps.
So there could be a change here.
Yes.
That's a flag that they're not happy about something.
Yeah, it certainly looks like there could be some more action here with drivers. I think it seems to be turn 3, turn 7, and then just around the hotel where it seems to be a bit of an issue.
So, again, as we said at the start of the show, Rod Freitas makes it super clear in every driver's briefing what he expects of the drivers. He will point to the areas he knows that are a particular risk here. At the moment, we'll call it, as we see it, is Herbeth Motorsports on provisional pole position, on actual pole position rather, for race 2 here at Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi, as Klaus Backler just threads around to bring the 33 car back to the pit lane.
Yeah, fine effort by him there, really delivered on those laps in this session. Another fine effort also by Johnny Adam and Arjun Maini.
Yes.
David Rigon has, I think that's the highest that a Ferrari has been in either session.
It is, yeah.
And so fine effort by him. Ben Barnicoat also performing extremely well in the 720S for Inception Racing. Another fine lap by him.
Yeah, 4 tenths off there, and
I think they'll take that for sure. I mean,
without a doubt.
Certainly the BOP change has hurt the McLaren. but I think that they expect to run better in the race than they do in qualifying.
But it's a lesson here for anybody that thinks about BOP and thinks about the conclusions here. A reasonably significant change for the McLaren and for the Ferrari. And it's not put them in pole position, but they're not seconds off, they're tenths off. These are relatively minor adjustments, and that will be the McLaren more or less in extremis, trying to get what they can. Remember, that's for the final race of this season.
Yep.
They're not going to be hiding anything at this point. They're going to be running that car as hard as they possibly can on a set of tyres that they only have to use in this session.
Yes, that's it. And, I think Ben has performed very, very well in that McLaren. And much like David Rigon, those two boys, I think, are going to be fighting it out. Those two cars, Rinaldi Racing and Inception, are going to be fighting it out together for the title here in the Asia Le Mans Series in GT.
And remember, not just the title, but an automatic invitation to Le Mans. There is one on offer for each of the three major classes here in LMP2, in LMP3, and in GT. So it's going to be very important indeed to see what exactly comes out from these two 4-hour races to come. So that's qualifying for GT done. We've still got 4 more of those 10-minute sessions to come, for 2 for LMP3 coming up shortly, and then followed almost immediately by LMP2. They'll set the grids, and then we'll see whether or not the form book is turned upside down in LMP3. It's been very topsy-turvy, Ollie, particularly with Misfortune for cars running well. DKR Engineering we've already mentioned. We should mention as well the Conrad Motorsport Ginetto was having a fantastic run in race 2 at Dubai before Misfortune struck them.
Yeah, they were very,
We've had
very quick.
issues for Nielsen Racing in race 1, then coming back and winning race 2 into Europol. I've had troubles in both races. All of those cars could run well. We've seen improved form from the 26 car with their new driver squad. The 22 Rinaldi car, the Wockenspiegel Team Manschau car. That car has seen form up and down. And through all of it, to lead the championship in LMP3 has come CD Sports with their 2 cars, 27 and 3, that lead the championship 1-2 after, we said it both times, didn't we? Started the race with their gentleman drivers aboard the car pretty much at the bottom of the field and steadily climbing up throughout the evening in both races to finish 1-2 in the first race and 2-3 in the second race. A fantastic display from that team, and they're going to be tough to catch and beat in the points.
Yeah, they are, and it really has been a sort of like a story of them just slowly working their way up the order. And they've done a fine job. I mean, they've hardly made any mistakes, very little contact. They stayed out of the pits with any little indiscretions with track limits or anything else, no contact. And they've really, to finish first, you have to finish and keep the car clean. And they did exactly that, but they're in Dubai. So it's good for them, great to see. Heartbreak, I think, for DKR and also for some of the other runners, that were, you can say the Nielsen Racing car of Tony Wells was running extremely well at points and would have definitely been in the mix there for the victory at the first race in Dubai, but they were struck by an exhaust problem, weren't they?
They were.
And
it was exhaust manifold, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
But I think what you're going to see is CD Sports trying to do what they can do to defend that points lead, but we've got a couple of very motivated teams and some very motivated drivers, particularly with DKR. That will be looking to show what they've actually got ahead of the end of this season, the start of the season in Europe. DKR in particular, 3 very talented young drivers there, and we've not seen, I don't think, a single competitive lap possible from the defending LMP3 champion in the LMS, Laurence Heur. Who'll go to Le Mans with the DKR engineering team in their LMP2 car. But I know he wanted to come here and put down a calling card to say, this is what I've got. He's not been able to do that because, unfortunately, he's not had the car underneath him.
No, he hasn't. And I've seen him out the back of the garage a number of times, either before a qualifying session or before the start of the race. And before the start of the second race last Sunday in Dubai, he was pacing. He was frustrated. He was really, very sort of downbeat about, what was happening because they had the car apart again, and then they were putting it back together. They're trying to get everything ready, but fortunately they got the car together. They started that race, but they still had problems during that race. And DKR, at the start of this weekend, have really got it apart and now got it back together, so they should have a strong
We've
strong
just
run.
seen a fantastic GT qualifying session, and a key part of that has been TF Sports and Johnny Adam. Nadia Nash is down in the TF Sport garage with Johnny right now.
That was quite an intense battle we saw there in GT qualifying. And of course, we've got the man here who will be sitting in pole position for race 3. Jonathan Adam is with us. Tell us, how was your stint out there? And you almost made it also for race 4. So a couple of rounds out there. Was it tough? How was it for you?
Yeah, the car has been superb all weekend. The TF Sport guys have done a superb job with the Aston Martin Vantage GT3, and I was so happy to get, obviously, pole for race 1. The car felt very good on lap 3 and 4. But then, obviously, the last qualifying there, I had a little bit of traffic on my last lap. Somebody was entering the pits and slowed down at the second last corner. So, you know, P2 is still amazing, you know, to be right up there, but it would have been lovely to get the double pole. But the key thing is the car feels very good in the slightly cooler conditions. So we're looking forward to later on this afternoon. Perfect position again where we're starting from. So if we could bag a great result today, it'd be great for the team and everyone involved.
Fantastic. So the man said everything. There you go. Almost a double pole, but it's all right. Starting in good position. All the best for later.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we've got LMP3 cars coming out onto pit lane now. That's Johnny Adam. You'll know Johnny well.
Yes.
A firm part of the British factory driver scene. I know you all love this secret club that you all go to most Tuesday evenings. But Johnny,
How do you know about that?
Sources. Johnny really is becoming part of the future, isn't he? I mean, you know, he's not the youngest factory driver we have, but he has been one of the kind of the if you like, the incoming stars, but with success coming regularly now.
Well, yeah, winner at the Le Mans 24 Hours with Aston Martin. He's been part of the factory program for many years. He is like a benchmark now for any young driver coming through into the Aston Martin program. He's well and truly cemented his position there with those guys, and he's making a great name for himself as a driver that can work both in a pro team, but also in a Pro-Am lineup, and bringing drivers through. You know, less experienced gentleman drivers. He can coach, he can guide, he can mentor. And you know, he's you know, that benchmark that every sort of Aston Martin driver needs to come in and look at. You know, he delivers like today. Got the pole in the first race. Got very close to the pole in the second. He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun. Spent quite a lot of time with him after the season we had in the Asia Le Mans series last year, and we had to go off and do a little bit of quarantine in Bahrain. He was there, did quite a lot of training with him, and he's a great guy. Lovely family as well, young family, and yeah, he's a fantastic guy to spend some time with.
There's a great point you make about this ability to work both with a full pro team, the intensity of that, but also to have the parallel skill set to work with Pro-Am. That is going to be the future in the FIWC.
It really is a key part of this, and endurance racing and multi-class racing. But in GT, it is super important to be able to switch those modes between I'm running in a full pro lineup, and then I've going to be just working with the gentlemen or the less experienced drivers, and telling them what they really need to do and what they can really get from the car or from the tyre or from that particular session. It's tough, it's hard. And if someone like Johnny can break that down into bite-sized chunks for that AM or that gentleman driver to process and then implement when they get into the car, that's super important.
There's one potentially important phrase that's just popped up on the screen as we watch we're watching the LMP3 cars waiting for that light to turn green. They're not looking at the moment at laps that might be deleted. They're looking at laps that were deleted that might not be. So that could be quite interesting. So it's the other way around.
Wow.
So we'll keep you posted on anything we hear about that one, whether or not it's the end of this show or the beginning of the race show later on.
We're just watching the Kyron Kempin Motorsports LMP3 car that's got an old friend of mine and a great guy that I used to race many moons ago, Tommy Violainen. He and I were battling on track together way back in the early 90s at the Formula Ford Festival in 1991. It was black and white, and, you know.
It was all
dirt. Fields
around there at that time. There was none of those housing problems.
But anyway, moving on. He is sharing the car with two young lads, and they have been performing very well this weekend. They had a tough Dubai, and they were really off the pace, to be blunt. But this weekend, they've made some big strides forward. And Tommy was talking to me last night, and he was saying get ready for qualifying. We're putting the young guns in, and we are really going to go for it, and they are going to start the race as well. So there could be some fireworks on those first few laps with those young lads behind the wheel. So looking forward to that. Let's see what they can do.
60 seconds to the open of pit lane for this session. There are 9 cars due out there. LMP3, if you're not familiar with these little cars, they are cost-capped cars. They are the biggest bargain in international sports car racing, attracting huge attention around the world with a choice of chassis. There are 4 available chassis, of which we have examples of 3 here. We'll talk about those in a minute. 30 seconds, the open of pit lane. But every car in this 9-car field features exactly the same 5.6-litre Nissan V8 engine with an X-Track gearbox in the back of this car, these cars. Ligier, Duqueine, Ginetta, and Ades. We don't have an Ades here. We have had them previously in the Asia Le Mans series, but we do have one of the little Ginettas. That's the 21 car from Conrad Motorsports. And we have Duqueines, 2 of them, and 3 of them rather, apologies. And then we have 5 Ligiers in this field. And that's always interesting as well, Ollie, when you get into where does the aerodynamic solution for these cars come good. Back in the previous iteration of these cars, they're all revamped with new bodywork, upgraded aero, upgraded safety equipment for these cars, and that 5.6-litre engine up from 5 litres from the cars that debuted in 2015. It has been a bit of a turnaround, and it looks to me as if in the iteration from the Norma, the 2015 car, to this Duqueine, it looks a stunning little car, by the way, Duqueine, but it's not got the straight line dominance it used to have. Ligier have caught up there, and in many conditions have got the better, more rounded package. Lawrence Herr, by the way, is going to be looking to make a lyre of that one.
Yes, maybe he is. You know, Lawrence he really laid down the marker in qualifying in Dubai Autodrome, and he did a fine performance there in both qualifying sessions, getting the pole. Unfortunately, they couldn't convert to those results into race victories with that poor reliability. But yes, certainly the pace of the DKR car was pretty spectacular there. I'm not sure that they've got quite that pace advantage here this weekend. We've seen a number of different cars at the top of the timesheets. I've no doubt, though, that DKR and Lawrence Herr are going to be towards the front, if not on the pole. I think Colin Noble as well with the Nielsen Racing car. I think that he'll be very close to the front. Jordan Gregor has done a fine job in the Conrad Motorsport car. He was very quick at the start of the race, second race in particular, at Dubai Autodrome. And Xavier Lavaratis he was pretty quick in the G-Drive car.
Coming on strong.
Yeah, so, you know, I think that there's plenty in this field that are going to be putting strong laps in.
So first, the quick lap starts with 8 minutes left on the clock. It is going to be Lawrence Herr at the wheel of the number 2 car. He's got the DKR Engineering car wound up and ready to go. Next across the line is Jordan Grogor, locally based. Jordan from South Africa, but lives and operates here in the UAE in the 21 Conrad car. That's the black and teal coloured car. Is Edward Kaupe in the CD Sport number 3. This is the 26 car, that's Xavier Laveiras. And as we said, Xavier was finding speed as he got his head around the package and the challenge with this Graf Racing operated, G-Drive Racing entered 26 car. Also out there, Colin Noble is aboard the number 8 Nielsen Racing car that took the win in race 2. Nico Pino, Chilean racer, in the Inter-Europol number 13. That is the what we often term to be the Norwich City liveried car, the green and yellow. As Laveiras is just giving himself a gap there.
Yeah, he's just trying to find a bit of track space.
It'll be Hendrik Steele in the Rinaldi entered WTM racing car, the number 22 Duqueine. 26, we've talked about Steve Pallette in the 27 CD Sport car. So the 2 cars, 3 and 27, that lead the championship, and it is Hesse Samanauto in the car, in Kempi Motorsport 72, that brings that car round. It is, unsurprisingly for me, 2 purple sectors so far from Lawrence Herr. He's going to be looking to make a statement very quickly here.
Yeah, I think he's going to be getting his frustrations out from last weekend.
The first flying lap for this car is deleted, turn 3. So the finger of race direction wrath fell very quickly upon Inter-Europol competition. Great looking livery still, this car.
Yeah, a lot of the LMP3 cars are coming to this new Parabolica sort of style corner at turn 9, the way that they go in with a lot of speed, entering in 6th gear and then getting that first apex and then letting it run out a little bit wide and then cutting back for that exit as they then come round and into this section around the hotel, which is tricky.
Yep.
It's tricky off camber.
Off camber can be slippy. We've seen a number of cars in trouble there from not just the Asia Le Mans series, but also the support series we've got here. Plenty of single seater action this weekend here. First flying laps are coming through. It is indeed Lawrence Herr comes through 1:46.973 for the young German, and it goes purple again in sector 1. Next up, Colin Noble is just over a second off that at the moment, 1:48.0. It's a 1:49.5 at the moment for Jordan Grogor. So it is 3 different chassis in the top 3 positions as the early laps come tumbling through at the moment. Herr from Colin Noble from Hendrik Stiel now. He goes ahead of the Ginetta. That is Rinaldi Racing 22. 2, 8, 22 and 21 are the first 4 takers. And then our Finnish friends, the first ever LMP team from Finland. That car goes, it was 5th, now goes 4th because the 21 car, Jordan Grogor, gets both of his first flying laps deleted. He drops to the bottom of timing and scoring. Here we're going to stick for the moment with Lawrence Herr. It's another 2 purple sectors from Lawrence, and it's looking like several tenths quicker. 1:46.9 last time around. This is going to be closer to something like 1:46.5 if he can hang this lap together. He's got traffic ahead, but it won't bother him here. Comes down and through the final turn, past pit in now, gets the power down, and what's it going to be? 1:46.973 becomes 1:46.452. That's a big improvement there from the young German.
Yeah, big statement that. It's certainly, the car looks hooked up. He really nailed that final sector, and I think that's going to be pretty tough to beat.
Colin Noble is just dropped back off second by Xavier Oliveras. We said he was finding speed. He has found some. 1:47.6 from Xavier aboard the 26 G-Drive racing car. And he edges Colin Noble back by a further 10th. Improvements, by the way, from all the drivers that haven't been pinged at this point. So Herr from Oliveras, from Noble, from Hessi Sawanauto. You said that that would happen, that we're going to see some improvement from them, and we have. They were way off the pace in Dubai. They're much closer to the mark here. Edward Kaupe and Steve Paulette, the CD Sport cars, 5th and 6th. And then we get to Hendrik Stiel, having lost that lap in the 22 car, but we know he's got the pace. Bad news for everybody else, though, is it's another purple sector from Lawrence Herr.
Yeah, he's just winding it up. It just looks like he's getting quicker and quicker. And he's laying down another quick lap here. He's only gone a tiny bit quicker in that first sector, but it's still an improvement. And he's gone quicker in the second sector. And he's about a 10th up on his fastest lap so far. Let's see if he can pull it all together in the final sector. Watching the G-Drive car coming through this final corner here, it doesn't look quite as settled. Can't quite attack as much. He's losing the rear a little bit on entry there. That's also, I think, some of the symptom with this new tarmac we've got here.
Closes the gap, though, by just a single 10th, but that's going to be opened up by what looks like a 10th, as we've got Jordan Grogor here in the little Ginetta.
Yeah, you could see that the car was moving as he got on the power off of turn 14 there.
To Lawrence
Not
Herr.
quite as settled.
Edward Kaupe has gone 3rd in the CD Sport car. Waiting to see if there's going to be an improvement here from Colin Noble. I think maybe he's lost the lap he's on, so there's not an improvement this time. And that was not an improvement from Lawrence Herr.
No, he backed off in that final sector. I think he's now just going to breathe it, bring it back in.
Yeah.
He's done his work.
So a dominant qualifying performance from DKR. Here comes Edward Kaupe in the number 3 CD Sport car.
I think Colin Noble's not having the smoothest of sessions. He's done a couple of slow laps. I think he's going to be going for it again. He had track limits.
2 minutes to go on track. So he's got another couple of shots at this, if he can get a clean session. Remember, this is the first of 2 qualifying sessions on that same set of tyres. We've had a drama somewhere, because I was just in green flag. I didn't see whether we yellows.
No, I didn't either.
Nico Pino has managed to hook up a lap and actually has got ahead of Colin Noble. So the 13 car with Vinter Europol now goes onto the second row. It's car 74. It must be 72, because there isn't a 74. So I think SC Salmonelto has had dramas out there.
That was a turn 5.
Okay.
The new section.
So on the lap he's on, so that will not be an improvement for the young Finn.
Let's see if Colin can build a lap here. He's at the moment he's not on a personal best in that first sector, but he's still working away.
Yeah. A minute to complete the lap and try to squeeze another one out of this. Here comes the number 3 car. This is a better lap here for Edward Carpe. Could be a front row lap from him. Let's see what happens when he crosses the line. Not quite. Just a couple of hundredths off, but it was an improved lap time. So it's a 1:46.452 for Laurent. Xavier Laveres' best, a 1:47.609. And that one just completed from Carpe as Laurent is just lifted right off, was a 1:47.631. Very close indeed to getting on the front row for the CD Sport car. That's frustrating, but he will get another crack at it, but has lifted off. Laveres has not. He will push on to see if he can close that gap just a little bit further. There's a change there. What happened there? Nico Pino goes to 3rd. So that was an improvement from the Chilean driver.
And Colin Noble's moved up as well. He's in P4, but still the car doesn't look that comfortable.
It was a ping for track limits for car 3, so that lost that position for CD Sport. So he's dropped back again. It's going to be their trademark run. As the checkered flag is out, the first across the line with Deco Engineering on pit road and looking absolutely peerless in this session.
Yep.
Into Europols, Nico Pino crosses the line to complete his session. G-Drive, not sure there's anything here for them at the end. Certainly not going to be anywhere close to Laurent Heur's pace.
No, he's quite calmly off of that turn 14, so I think that's him back into the box.
So there is the number 2 car. Tyre pressures, attention in the cockpit. The Michelin tyre technician there, you can see, taking temperature readings.
Yeah, it's just...
G-Drive, Xavier Laveres is pitted too. This session is done, and that is going to be the pole position setter. That is Laurent Heur, young German.
Just talking to the team, just getting the download, talking about how the car was in that session, and just seeing if there was anything they could do to improve.
To face, he was clearly very happy indeed with that.
Yeah.
And you've got to say, Ollie, after the frustrations of 2 races where they showed dominance but couldn't convert because of electrical problems, that's got to be a much more relaxing feeling.
Absolutely. There's certainly something that they are going to be a lot happier with this qualifying session, but they had 2 very good qualifying sessions in Dubai, but they couldn't convert. So they're just hoping that they've got them on top of all of that reliability issues they've had.
It's going to be a very different looking race here for anybody viewing. It is going to be into darkness, but here the lighting system at Yas Marina, pretty comprehensive, to the point that I was reading some of the bulletins to teams that the usual regulations that operate for a night race don't operate here because it effectively is daytime, so we don't have to have drivers completing mandatory nighttime laps, for instance. And that's how effective the lighting is here. It really is a state-of-the-art facility.
Yeah, it is. And, I'm sure that a number of the gentleman drivers and less experienced guys are thankful for that after the challenges of Dubai. But it's a great facility here. And I think that most of the drivers have come back saying that the improvements and the updates they've made to the racetrack have helped with the flow and helped with abilities to attack, and I think it's also going to help with the overtaking and existing on circuit together, all these multi-classes, and being able to just pick your points. And there might be a little bit less contact, but I think there's going to be greater racing.
The key for me is going to be how well the LMP2s and the GT3s can race together. We've got more flow. That's not necessarily a help to the LMP3 cars trying to get through, because the pace in extremis and top speed is not that much different. Also, from a couple of the drivers concerned about where some of the complexes now lie in that flow. If you're behind and you can't pass, it's a long time before you can find another position to get by.
If you bottled up behind somebody coming into turn 9, there's a chance in a P3 car, if you're up behind a GT car, you're not going to be able to get by them, possibly down into turn 1 on the next lap, or even into turn 5, or you might even have to wait until turn 6. It really could be a patient waiting game, trying to sort of pick your point, making sure that you're passing high percentage move, not getting caught up in the moment, which then could a rash move and you wreck your race.
Let's call it as we see it at the moment. Lawrence Herr is on pole for race 1 in LMP3 in the number 2 DK Engineering Duquesne. Xavier Oliveras, great qualifying from him to put the G-Drive Racing 26 Ligier second and on the front row in LMP3. Nico Pino from the Interpol competition team, the Chilean driver, the 13 car, another good qualifying from him. Pulled that back after losing, I think, 2 laps there to the pace. And we are going to be having seen the cars any moment now at pit exit. Is a quick fire changeover to the second qualifying session. Again, another 10 minutes. This will set the grid for LMP3 for Sunday's race, which goes a little later into the evening. Again, as I said during the GT qualifying, keep an eye on both the Asia Le Mans Series website and all the social media outlets for the Asia Le Mans Series for the times in your time zone. Live and free, more or less everywhere around the world, somewhere through the website, through YouTube, through Facebook, and a massive array of broadcast channels around the world, both taking it live and highlights, and a huge international audience once again for the Asia Le Mans Series. So thank you so much for joining us. Just final bit of attention to the finish car. That was a real turn up in performance for the number 72, and it would be great to see them battling through this race. It's great to see new teams. It's even better when they unlock the potential of the package.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see, and I think they've kept their driver lineup the same for this second qualifying session. Pit lane is open.
Yep, so green flags
cars
offline.
on track.
There goes the number 8 Nielsen Racing team. They'll have felt, I think, disappointed with that.
They will. They will. I think it was a little bit of a troubled session for them. They'll be looking to make some changes, I'm sure, see if there's anything they can do. Maybe there isn't anything they can do, and it's just Colin's just got to try and figure out a little bit more of how to unlock that pace from it. But one man that has not had any trouble on unlocking pace in the Asia Le Mans Series this year in LMP3 is this man, Lawrence Herr, who has just been absolutely dominant. You know, over a second in hand over everybody else in class in that qualifying session, and I'm sure he's going to do that again.
And yet he's probably the most frustrated driver at this facility at the moment, because he's not been able to complete that job in either race because of the electrical woes of this car. It's going to be a very focused Lawrence Herr, I'm sure, that comes into this race. And well, there you go. You know, you've been involved with high-profile cars where your team and your car has been the favoured. The team that people have looked to as being favourites, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it can be that weight that you're carrying on your shoulders, and you know, in this situation, you know, I'm sure that the DKR are the team that got the target on their back, and you know, they wanted just to deliver and have a trouble-free weekend. I know they were frustrated. We saw Kendi, the team boss, over the week, and he's always smiling, he's always happy, but you could really sense the frustration with him and a number of members of the team.
Well, that's the question. How do you deal with the frustration when it's not quite going your way? How do you focus? Particularly, you know, we've got here a young driver in an environment where, look at what's happening in world sports car racing at the moment. The opportunities are there. He wants to showcase those talents, and he's not been able to do that in a program which I know he had great expectations of. How does he keep himself gathered to perform to his maximum without crossing that line in the desperation to show?
You do. It's a tough deal, and Lawrence, I think, is showing great mental strength in coming back here this weekend and delivering once again on track. And he's recognised that he can only influence the outcome of the performances and of the race of this car when he's in the car. And that's what you have to keep telling yourself. All the other stuff you have very little control over. As a driver, you can only perform when you're in the car behind the wheel.
So it is the same drivers, no changes in the 9 drivers. So just to remind you, it's Lawrence Herr in the 2, the DK Engineering car. This is the number 21 Conrad Ginetta, and that colour scheme does suit that car, by the way.
Beautiful.
It's a lap deleted, by the way, but I think it's his out lap for Colin Noble. And it is Jordan Grogor aboard the 21 car. CD Sport have got Edward Cowapay in the number 3, and they have Steve Paulette in the number 27. The number 8 car, again, Colin Noble, Nico Pino in the 13, it's Europol car, Ulrich Steele in the 22, Rinaldi Run WTM, Duquesne, G-Drive Racing's 26, that is on the front row for race 1, is again out in the hands of Xavier Oliveras, of course it is, and Jesse Salminato is aboard the number 72, Cayenne Kempe Motorsports Duquesne. That completes the 9-car field. And already, guess what colour Sector 1 and Sector 2 are for Lawrence Herr?
And the final sector as well. Just gone over the line to get the fastest lap.
It's a 1:46.785. I don't think I've seen him drop a single lap to track limits either.
No, and again, that just shows you his mindset, where he's at. He's comfortable with the car. He's just delivering. And so, you know, I think he can be comfortable and happy with his own performance right now. And he just got to keep telling himself that, reminding himself of that situation, and not get too downhearted or beat himself up about anything that he's done. It's just the team needs to just deliver.
Colin Noble drops through into second place in the number 8 car, so he lost his out lap, but not the flying lap for the moment, certainly. Jordan Grogor is third quickest at the moment in the Ginetta from Conrad Motorsport, the 21 car. Jesse Salminato comes through in his third. Hendrik Still is fourth, sorry. Hendrik Still is fifth of the 5 cars that have set a lap so far, and again, Lawrence Herr has put in another purple first sector. 4 tenths up, 3 tenths up rather, on Colin Noble, and he's gone purple sector 2 again.
Yeah, when you're watching it hit that DKR car through this sector of the track, the difference between the Nielsen car and the DKR car is just, it's stark. And how settled and loaded the DKR car is, and how the Nielsen car looks like it's unhooked. It's not riding the curbs very well. It looks a handful.
Colin Noble has lost his first lap, by the way, so Xavier Oliveras goes up again into second quickest. To give you an idea of the difference in pace between these cars at the moment, second sector for the second place car on this grid was a full second slower than Lawrence Herr.
Yeah.
That's pretty staggering stuff. And remember, cars with identical mechanical packages.
Yeah, it's pretty staggering. So they've certainly unlocked the pace in that car.
So also now a 1:46.3 for him this time around. So another couple of tenths squeezed out of this. 1.5 seconds is the gap now from this car. Oh, he did well to hold that.
Yeah, he just threw the car in there to the right, unhooked the rear, and he drifted it all the way through turn 8.
Not great.
Turn 7, sorry, I'd say. It did look good. But it doesn't do much for rear tyre temp and life.
That would have been an exciting moment, I'm sure.
Yeah.
See if that one makes the highlights reel. But yellow flag at turn 4, we're seeing. It's a red flag, I think.
Yes, that's a quick corner. It's the right-hander at the top of the hill.
I think we've got a red flag.
Yeah,
we have. And it's the Conrad car.
Oh, that's a high-speed corner. If he's run wide, gone over a curb, possibly bottomed out, and then...
Isn't that where Tom Blomqvist had his shunt last year?
2-3, I think it was. So it's just a little bit later in the track, but it's a quick section of racetrack. You're flat out through there, and if you've run off, gone over a curb, and the car's possibly bottomed out, and it could have then jumped in the air and then spat the car sideways. But let's wait and see what happens here. But
well, we're bringing you news of that as soon as we can hear it. For the moment, Jordan Grogor has stopped at turn 4. We have no more information than that. Race control, and Hans Eduardo Freitas has called a halt to the session at this point.
I mean, it could be. I mean, oh, can we see anything here? It could be that he's just pulled over and stopped.
It could be.
Yeah, but it's a high-speed part of the racetrack, and you've got to be very, very careful there on that spot.
So,
looks like he's...
as things stand, clock has stopped. 3.5 minutes remaining in this session, so that will give them a chance for one flying lap. And cars have... 2 of the cars have reached pit lane. We'll tell you what we can about 21 as and when we hear it. Let's hope all is well.
I think that the car 21 has, so that's the Conrad car, has had an incident, or something has happened, maybe a spin, but he's got going again. It doesn't seem like there's any contact, but we will not be allowed
He's
to...
completed, no, has he? He's not completed Sector 2. He had a very slow Sector 1. Very slow Sector 1. So is he continuing at slower pace? We'll see. Here comes Lawrence Hur down pit lane in a dominant position. So as we're waiting, let's go down through the times for the currently 8 cars that have completed a lap. DK Engineering's Lawrence Hur, dominant once again, 1:46.301, fully 1.5 seconds ahead of the second place car in this session as things start. Session will restart in short call. That is good news, because that means there is no damage to the structure of this racetrack. And I can tell you that Jordan Grogart is underway because he's cleared Sector 2 slowly. So that's good news. So Xavier Oliveras, it is second. Just, what is that, 7 thousandths of a second off that pace is the number 3 car, and that's, I think he's done.
Yeah.
He's that's quite enough. Thank you very much for the DK Engineering guys. So it is the CD Sport number 3 car that sits third in this session. Fourth is the Inter-Europol Competition 13, Nico Pino. Steve Paulette is fifth in the number 27 CD Sport car. Then the number 72, the Finnish car from Krajan Kempi Motorsport and Hessi Samanato, he sits sixth. Seventh, Rinaldi car. They've had a staccato qualifying effort in the 22 car with Henrik Stiel. Jordan Grogart, who has made the pit lane. That's the best news. And we've got a green flag as he does so for the 21 Ginetta. And Nielsen Racing, Colin Noble has not set a time.
Yeah, that's tough. Certainly not the easiest of sessions for Nielsen Racing, but we did see Lawrence Hur there, you know, with...
He's done.
Yeah, he's definitely out of the car. He was having the pictures taken, holding 4 fingers up, 4 poles in a row for him in the Asia Le Mans Series. Absolute dominant. We'll officially confirm all of that once the session is over, but I really can't see anybody being able to put together a run here to beat that lap.
No. So we've got just under 3 minutes to go as we watch the cars out on an out lap. That should mean one single flying lap available to all the cars that either choose to or can rejoin the session. That is 7 of them. DK Engineering, we've seen Lawrence Hur get out of the car. That 1.5 seconds advantage feels clearly that he's not challenged here.
Yeah, I think that he also mostly knows the car, he knows the tyre, and he knows that it's going to take at least 1, if not 2, flying laps to get everything really going properly.
The other car that won't rejoin the session is the number 21 Conrad Motorsport car, but did come back to pit lane. We've not seen the car, but quite possible that car just simply stopped.
Yeah.
So but the other 7 cars are out there. The most important run here is going to be for the race 2 winning car in Dubai. Nielsen Racing, Colin Noble has not set a flying lap yet in that car.
No,
it didn't look that happy, did it?
No, it didn't at all, and he's out on track. And I saw Colin earlier on in the weekend, and you know, he was not looking that happy about things, and I'm not sure that they've got that car dialed in, and it certainly doesn't look it, not from this evidence that they've got on top of that car. So it might be a tough race.
So it's 1 minute 30 seconds to go as they cross the line. This will be the final lap for these cars. They're not going to make it around to start a second flyer in the time that remains.
No.
But a good final sector in that warm-up lap for Xavier Oliveras. They're going to be looking to see what they can do to just unlock pace from here, see what they can learn here. The 2 CD Sport cars are running in team formation in this session. We've seen them do that quite often through the week. Number 3 is ahead of the 27, currently running 3rd and 5th.
Yeah, I think they're going to be looking to deliver a stronger running in this qualifying session, because the previous one, it was a little bit hard. They couldn't quite put it all together.
The 3 car is the car with the yellow splitter. The 27 is the car with the black. Both look stunning, I have to say. The colour scheme in these cars, they look immaculately prepared.
They do.
And they've had a fantastically reliable and pacey run. They may not have had the cutting-edge pace of a Lawrence Hur, or at times a Colin Noble, but they've delivered, and you know, we've enjoyed watching them rise up through the order.
They're going quickest in that second sector. Certainly the 3 car with Eduardo Carpe is...
He's going quickly enough to overhaul this of maybe not. It's more or less even Stevens, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is the checkered flag, by the way. So these will be the final laps of this session in LMP3. Who can improve? Anybody? Well, CD Sports and the G-Drive racing cars. Someone's had a big lock up there.
Lock up, possibly even a spin. It was just a lock up.
It is an improvement for Xavier Oliveras. He closes the gap by almost 0.3 of a second. CD Sport Edward Carpe takes second place on this grid in that last lap. Jesse Salmonauto, I think, has improved as well to 4th. Great lap from him. So that's 1.1 seconds the gap now to Carpe. Then 1.2 to Oliveras, 1.6 to Salmonauto. Colin Noble does get in a lap and will put the Nielsen Racing car 5th on the grid. So 4 cars improved on that last chance saloon, if you like.
Yeah, Lawrence Hurst just sitting on the side part of the car, just watching the times and just checking to see that nobody's bumped him, beaten his time. But I think he can be pretty confident and that he's locked up. That's 4 pole positions in a row and a fine job.
Yeah, and you know, there will be, I'm sure, a degree of psychology involved there. It's the kind of, I've done it. He doesn't have to sit on the side pod of the car. He could be sitting in the back having a cup of tea. But I'm sure he'll be sitting on the side pod of his car watching all of his competition come in.
Yes. Very cool.
There's nothing you can say other than that was a completely peerless qualifying display for the 2022 Asian Le Mans Series from Lawrence Hurst.
Yes, I mean, the cars looked absolutely on rails when he's behind the wheel, and you know, DKR have certainly done a great job in terms of unlocking the speed for him. But it's and the rest of the lineup actually have been very pacey, but just fingers crossed for them that they have managed to get on top of this electrical problem that they have chased from day one of the Asian Le Mans Series, and they feel that they're confident they've got on top of it, but the proof is going to be later on today and tomorrow whether they can deliver a faultless run to the flag and take the victories that I think they genuinely deserve for their pace.
I think certainly for pace, absolutely. The lineup has been pretty much unmatched across the board. And better news still for Kendi and all the team at DKR. The new drivers they're bringing into this program are looking very good as well. They've got a car in the European Le Mans Series to come. They'll be disappointed that they've not been able to convert to a full season program their LMP2 effort that will be seen at the Le Mans 24 Hours. And we wait to see what we're going to see from them in Michelin Le Mans Cup, a formula, by the way, the Michelin Le Mans Cup, in support of the European Le Mans Series, which until last year they were unbeaten in LMP3. Yeah. They'd won every title in the Michelin Le Mans Cup until 2021. And I've no doubt we're going to see at least one and possibly more than one DKR Engineering Duquesne in the Michelin Le Mans Cup again. Well, that's LMP3. We now know where things stand there. We'll wait and see whether or not there's going to be any changes we can talk about at the start of the race to the grid for GT. That sort of implied there might be.
Yeah, I think there could be some stuff coming there with Waldo and the boys working on all the track limits.
Absolutely. What happens next is we turn the wick up just a little bit more because it's LMP2 next, and 5 cars this time around with the addition of the number 23 United Autosports Orica for young Josh Pearson. We'll talk about him in a moment, and ex-Formula 1 driver and spectacularly able sports car driver Paul Di Resta. They're going to be, I think, the team that are going to be looking the ones to beat on pace. We've then got the number 4 Nielsen Racing car that won both races overall with 2 very good displays in their season debut in LMP2. They have raced a car at Le Mans, but they've never entered an LMP2 car for a full season. And then behind them, we've got the 2 battling Oricas of the Graf Racing team and the high-class racing team that are on equal points at the moment, at the top of LMP2 AM and in second place in LMP2. And then finally, the very bright yellow, number 44 ARC Bratislava car that did have its moment in the sun.
It did.
Albeit in the dark at Dubai, with that car being the only non-Orica now in international competition. still has a little bit of pace when you can unlock that from the car.
Yeah,
it's going to be about being neat and tidy, isn't it?
Yeah, Neil Muston had a very strong run in that car, didn't he? Towards the middle of the race there in Dubai, that second race in Dubai. But I think that, the story here this weekend really is the United Autosports coming back to join us in the Asia Le Mans Series. And Josh Pearson is definitely a star of the future. And he's going to be someone that the United Autosports have invested a lot of time in. And they see a long future in front of him in sports car racing. And I think that they've made no secret of the fact that they want to go to Le Mans with him.
Absolutely. Well, he'll be at Le Mans because he's a WC full season driver.
Yeah.
I know we're going to have Nadia talking to young Josh in just a few moments. In fact, we're going to be right now. We're going to go down to pit lane. Nadia Nash is with Josh Pearson.
Yes, of course. We're very lucky to grab hold of him. Josh Pearson here with us, who just turned 16 on 14th of February. So, of course, from all of us at the Asian Le Mans Series, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
So glad that you could join us. He is, of course, with car number 23, United Autosport. Now, of course, we want to know, you are 16 years old and here you are easily the youngest driver here. How are you feeling having just turned 16 and being here in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, so came to Abu Dhabi early to get some testing in since I was too young to race the first two rounds in Dubai. So I'm feeling pretty good. We had lots of testing. I feel comfortable in the car and happy to turn 16 in such a beautiful location. I'm really looking forward to the race today, and that's pretty much it for me.
Fantastic. A sweet 16 that you'll never forget, I'm sure. Now, of course, qualifying sessions, just minutes away. The car is ready in the garage. Oh, I see the drivers in there. Is that Paul Di Resta?
Yeah, so Paul's going to do qualifying. Paul's been really fast in FP1 and FP2, so we're going to have him do qualifying. I think it should be good. We've got a great setup on the car right now, and the boys have done a great job with the car all weekend. So I think we'll see how we get on.
Fantastic. One last question. United Autosport was missing in the first two races. Now that you're here, what's the strategy moving forward?
Yeah, so I think most likely, I'll probably end up starting both races, but it's still being looked at.
Yep.
From my side, I think United, world-class team. I'm sure that we're going to have a great strategy going into the races. I'm not too worried about it.
Fantastic. So all the best to you and your team. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
There you have it, Josh Pearson, and of course, LMP2 qualifying is starting very soon.
Thanks very much, Nadia. And absolutely right. Cars in the working area now, and the pit lane will be open for qualifying for the LMP2 cars in about 4 minutes' time. Young Josh Pearson there, that's going to be a developing story throughout this year. He's there with the first programme with United Autosports here in the Asia Le Mans Series, carries on for a full season in WEC. They have had time here at Yas Marina with Josh here with his driver coach, Stephen Simpson. If you're a fan of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, you'll be familiar with Stephen, and also with the assistance of a guy you'll know very well, Ollie Jarvis here, to actually help him to get bedded into the mindset and the pace and the consistency that is going to be expected and going to be vital if they're going to convert.
Indeed, and actually I spoke to Richard Dean, who runs the programme there at United Autosports, and he was saying about how, yes, Josh has come in. He's very young. He's managed. He did Daytona just a few weeks ago, Daytona 24 Hours. But he's now here, been testing. But they've wanted to make sure that they've placed the right drivers alongside Josh to mentor, to guide, to educate him on the ways of sports car racing, multi-class racing. And Richard was sort of at pains to sort of explain to me that yes, they are racing here this weekend, but they are somewhat looking at it, this really extended test session for Josh. It's because they can't really challenge for the championship here, as they didn't compete in the first two rounds in Dubai. But it's all about educating Josh on the forms of racing here, dealing with other cars on track. He's been able to test a lot. But it's a very different thing between testing on your own, or maybe with a few other cars, but then the real thing of actually racing and competing, taking starts, a rolling start, not a standing start, a rolling start, and then being on track and passing traffic, GT, LMP3, and then dealing with a full course yellow period, a restart, getting tyres back up and running, in tricky conditions. We could have tricky conditions here later on, a lot of debris offline, maybe there's sand coming onto the track in some spots, and dealing and getting a car restarted when there's a certain amount of pressure on. It's not that there's going to be a huge field in P2, but it will still blood him into this way of competing and racing, and it's valuable, valuable experience.
And more than that, it's not just about United Autosports. Talking to the Nielsen Racing guys as we were the other evening, they're looking forward to the competition here. They want to measure themselves. Rodrigo Salas wants to measure himself against a silver driver. Rodrigo, a bronze-rated, FIA bronze-rated driver. Josh Pearson, a silver due to his age. But they want to measure themselves against it. I mean, and Matt Bell wants to measure himself against Paul Di Resta, established star out there. Ben Hanley absolutely wants to get stuck into that as a challenge. Yeah. So it does add that level of competition into it. And then you get to actually what happens with the points, because whilst United Autosports can't win the championship, that's not on the agenda for them. They can score points, and therefore they can take points away from Nielsen Racing.
Indeed.
So what Nielsen Racing's game is going to be here is, yes, they're going to do competition, but finish the race and do the job. The job is very simple. Win the championship, win the automatic invitation to the Le Mans 24 Hours. Take that number 4 Nordic script Easter egg ridden Oracle. We'll talk about that later. Absolutely fantastic livery on that car. That's the job, is take this car as the championship winner from here to start the European Le Mans Series and to plan for the Le Mans 24 Hours in June.
Yeah, so the mindset within the drivers there at Nielsen Racing is going to be about, yes, we want to battle and compete against the guys at United Autosports, but it has to be at you got to be smart with it. You can't take those low percentage moves or those chances. Don't get dragged into a real dogfight, wheel to wheel, banging, or any sort of low chance in overtaking, possibly taking the nose off or diving down inside when it's really not a move that's on. So I'm sure the boys at Nielsen, all the team management there, are just going to have quiet words with their drivers just to say, look, think about the bigger picture here. We've got a championship locked up, and we've just got to deliver these next 2 races here at Yas Marina. Nothing rash.
Green flag, and we're underway for the LMP2 session for race 1 this evening here at Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. Remember again, take a look at the Asian Le Mans Series social media channels or the website to check for the start time for the race in your part of the world and wherever you are in the world. Whether it's good morning from us, good afternoon, good evening, we're delighted to have you with us. That is the number 49 high-class racing car. The other point, just as we see the cars on these outlaps, Ollie, was whilst there wasn't a huge challenge to the number 4 car's dominance of the first 2 races in Dubai, what I was impressed by was all of the cars. We've got 3 cars in LMP2 AM, so that's cars with at least 2 bronze drivers in those cars, that we were seeing improvements in the speed and consistency of those cars throughout that second race over what we'd seen in the first race. And it was very challenging indeed in the pitch darkness of Dubai.
Yeah, no doubt that was really challenging conditions, and dealing with the traffic out on track was a big deal. And we saw that. We saw them trying to navigate their way through. That first race was really tough. The second race, they definitely got a lot better and take some good steps forward. And we've seen this now with this format in the Asian Le Mans Series, that you see that first race in Dubai being rather tricky, difficult, and people being quite tentative. Then people grow in confidence and they start laying a little bit more out there and really, showing their character and pushing a little bit more. And I think we're going to see here today a number of drivers really pushing on. There's no doubt that the lighting here in Abu Dhabi is going to help that, but it's going to be, drivers are just going to feel that little bit more confident in the machinery that's underneath them and in the series that they're racing in and how they operate in this environment.
Once again, we're seeing the LMP2 cars, a couple of them just hanging back and waiting for the start of this session. So far, 3 of the 5 are out there. We've been looking at Dennis Anderson aboard the number 49 high-class racing car. This is Neil Muston, who ran second for a while in the second race at Dubai, and did that by running to second and passing cars on track in the 44 Ligier JSP 217. All these cars, by the way, a little in common with the LMP3 cars. They're quicker. They have a 4.2 litre Gibson V8 engines built in the UK at Repton in Derbyshire, and all powered by the same engines. Fantastic sounding high revving V8, you can hear it there. Ben Hanley, by the way, has left pit lane in the number 4 Nielsen Racing car, but we've not yet seen Paul di Resta out. Neither have we seen the number 39 Graf Racing car, and I expect it will likely be David Drew aboard that car. He's been showing pretty good pace, David.
I'm surprised by this. You know, it's only a 10-minute session, and maybe it's the fact that they feel that they can just pop out with 5 minutes to go and just deliver a lap, just do one box and be done with it.
And they probably can, but it's a risky strategy. We've seen before teams caught out by that. If you get some kind of interruption in the session, we have seen teams caught out and not being able to run the program they wanted to.
Yeah.
But my guess is they're feeling with 5 cars out on track, the chances of any kind of incident is lower. Here comes Neil Muston in the Ligier. Dennis Anderson, by the way, just about to complete his first flying lap. That will be, of course, because it's the first man out, the marker.
Yeah, Neil was a little bit tentative on the way into turn 9 there. I thought he was going to carry a lot more speed in, but didn't seem like everything was quite hooked up. He's
not
running
quite on it, is he?
No, he's running a little
And
wide everywhere, and this is not the corner to run wide at. 14. It just doesn't seem like it's all hooked up and there together, and this is something. Maybe he was going to box that lap.
Don't know. Paul di Resta, by the way, is out there now. So 1:45.296 from Dennis Anderson. Wait to see what the response is going to be from Nielsen Racing's Ben Hanley. He's going quicker.
Yeah.
Not vastly quicker in. Sorry, it is a second up rather in sector 1, so it's going to be a much quicker lap if he can convert that one. We'll stick with Dennis Anderson. It's a high-class racing team. It's a team that's now a familiar part of international endurance racing. They're racing for the full season across in North America in 2022. Lap, but you're completely correct, by the way, lap deleted, and it was that turn 13 we saw Neil Muston running wide at, so he will not retain that lap, loses it now on our timing and scoring. But based in Barcelona, Danish flag, Danish owned high-class racing, ran at the Le Mans 24 Hours last year with a second car, one of them featuring dad and lad, Jan and Kevin Magnussen. Man you'll know well, Jan.
Yes, yeah, Jan, old teammate of mine at Corvette Racing, and they're great to see them, and maybe we're going to see them, I don't know, in the future, running together again. Who knows?
We're about to get a pole position lap delivered by Ben Hanley in the number 4 Nielsen Racing car. That's the car just behind this car on track now. Dennis Anderson will come through. There'll be an improvement for him. 1:45.2 becomes 1:44.9. That's a hefty improvement, but it's much quicker from Ben Hanley. He's putting the marker down to Paul di Resta. It's a 1:40.799. So Nielsen Racing to provisional pole of the only 2 cars so far that have actually set a flying lap. 39 car, by the way, has now joined the session very late in the hands of David Drew, and is in fact running ahead of this pair. Looks to me like Ben Hanley's lifted straight off.
Yeah, I think that was a one lap deal.
One and done.
Yeah, get it done. See, then just go back to pits, park up, get ready for the second session, and just see what Paul di Resta can do in the number 23 car.
So let's have a look and see just exactly what di Resta can do it against.
He's gone quickest in the first sector.
And he's gone much quicker. He's gone more than second quicker, hasn't he?
Yeah, outright.
So Paul di Resta already, the marker is down, and that marker is coloured purple.
Yeah, and he's up by just over a tenth on Ben's lap.
Neil Muston, by the way, has just popped up second, and he's taken second place in the second at the moment, ahead of Dennis Anderson by 1/100th of a second. It's a 1:45.285, a 1:45.296.
Seeing Ben just coming back to the pits. And
looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, unless he's just letting the tyres breathe.
There's
and then
Neil
to go
Muston.
again.
And he's just gone second in this session, but it won't be for long because it's the second purple sector for United.
And he's, yeah. Di Resta is 4 tenths up on Ben's lap.
It is, yeah, this is going to be a great qualifying lap from Paul Di Resta.
He just pops into this shot there.
There you go, finishes the lap now and will go to pole position. 1:39.804, all bar 5 thousandths, a full second up on the number 4 car.
Yep, just a little wiggle off of turn 1. He's pressing on, he's going for another lap. But I think that Ben's going on another lap as well. So we're going to have these two cars on the same bit of tarmac.
Together.
Yeah,
and
very
Ben Hanley's
close.
improved his first sector time, and he's not a million miles away from this pace.
No,
so is this the game?
But Di Resta has just bettered it, and he's a couple of tenths up here, I think, on Ben. But it's a good little battle, what we wanted to see,
isn't it? So it's a 1:39.8 plays a 1:40.7, or just about 8. It is all but a second apart, and these are the mind games between professional race drivers. I'm sure you love this challenge.
It was a lot of fun. Qualifying was always a lot of fun.
So who was the driver that you all too frequently had to say "damn it" about? And was it opposition or was it a teammate?
Well, sometimes it was. I do remember at Le Mans it was a Thomas Enger a number of times that he would always pip us at the last second. And I don't know if Thomas, if you're listening, but great performances back in the day.
Absolutely. By the way, Paul Di Resta has lifted off here. Ben Hanley fundamentally hasn't. So remember, it was...
Well, that's close.
Yeah, 0.995 of a second was the gap. Ben Hanley is not done here.
No.
Has he got something in this final sector? Could we be... Not quite. He lost a little bit of that.
As Di Resta, no, Di Resta's boxing, and I thought that he was just breathing the tyres and just going to go again for another lap, but...
Ben Hanley has completed the lap, and he's closed it by 0.3 of a second, nearly 0.4 of a second. But most of that 0.4, the 0.6 he's back, was lost in the final sector.
Yeah.
He was just over a tenth off.
Yeah, and that seems to have been a bit of a pattern here over all the testing and free practices, is that the United car is extremely strong in that last sector, all around the hotel and back that final couple of corners onto the front straight. That's really where they're really quick.
Don't think there's any challenge whatsoever to the front row here. And there's no improvement, by the way, in the first sector from Ben Hanley. This is him done. The drama is about the number 39 car at this point. 5th of 5 has lost his flying lap. Remember, this is a car that joined halfway through the session, lost his first flying lap, needs a lap now, and is there and thereabouts on the kind of pace that would put him on top of LMP2 AM. But Neil Muston's improving his time. He fancies a crack at this.
Yeah, it's just a risky strategy, and it does load the driver up to deliver. But Graf Racing decided to go about it this way, but it's now all or nothing on this last lap for David Drew.
He's got to get a lap on the board. He does so, and he does go to the top of LMP2 AM. And he's in a 1:42.393, significantly up on what we're seeing from the moment from Neil Muston. Muston's pretty close to that time, you know. You might be, it's tenths in it, it's not seconds in it. It might be a single second in it, but the ARC Bratislava car will complete this session with the final flying lap.
He will, as the cars come back onto pit lane after their hot laps and qualifying run, and there's the United Autosport car, Paul Di Resta behind the wheel, who's did that one lap, delivered, and I'm sure that they were practicing this in testing last week when we were all in Dubai. These boys were here in Abu Dhabi putting some laps on this car.
Muston completes the session and again lost time in that final sector. It does look a bit ragged, that Ligier through that final sector, particularly
not so
the hotel section. He's not enjoying that part of it, but he's not a million miles away elsewhere in terms of the LMP2 AM standard, and that could be quite interesting. Be interested to see who they choose to start the car this time around. It's been Miro Konopka for the first 2 races.
Right.
So let's wait and see if the same thing happens here, or do they shift the strategy around. But LMP2 AM worth a look, because we've got drivers and teams that are learning things here, and that's always a very good thing. Let's call those times at the end of this session. Paul Di Resta takes pole position, a 1:39.804 for the number 23 United Autosports Orica. Ben Hanley gave that a bit of a crack, 0.626 of a second back as Neil Muston comes through to complete the session here. Ben Hanley completes the front row for race 1 this evening with a 140.430. That's the car from Nielsen that has won the first 2 races here. The United car joining for these second 2. Second row will be David Drew in the number 39 Graf Racing car. Managed to squeeze out that lap time after losing his first time and joining in the session late in the 39 car. It's also pole in LMP2 AM. ALC Bratislava, this car, the Ligier, Neil Muston from Australia, brings the 44 car through 4th in the session, 144.728 for that car. And then High Class Racing complete the field, the 5-car field, in the 49 car, Dennis Anderson with a 145.296. And I think we could again see the 3 LMP2M cars having a bit of a battle here.
Yes. They are.
Their strategy, as I say, in terms of who will drive which part of the race this evening is going to be interesting.
Yeah, certainly there's something that they're going to be all looking at and trying to shuffle the deck in terms of which driver goes when. And also looking at when we're starting this race, we're starting the race at 2:30 this afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be hot.
It is going to be very hot.
It's going to be up in that sort of high 20s, maybe even early 30s. That temperature is going to be peaking, and it's going to be dropping off as they go through the race. And the conditions are going to be changing, and it's going to be something that every team's going to have to stay on top of, and they're going to have to be educating their drivers on it as they go. It's
a rapid turnaround, of course, again between sessions before we get into the final session of this morning's action here in Abu Dhabi. So it's less than a minute now to pit exit being open for the 10-minute session to start to set the grid for race 2 on Sunday. One final question about the United Autosports car. We can see the car there with the yellow lollipop in the foreground.
Yeah, it looks like they're ready to go.
Yeah, 2 things is my guess. This is a 44 Ligier of the agenda for United. They want pole, of course they do. They're a racing team.
Sure.
But also, does that put Josh Pearson on more pressure, or does that alleviate some of the pressure because he's got a clear track ahead of him?
I think it might be the latter, that they're just wanting to get him out there in front. He can run his race. He can just go at his pace, and he can just lead from the front. And I think that would be Richard's want and desire for him to start off a pole. But he's going to have to deal with everything, you know, as he comes through into this season and operating in the WEC and dealing with a very different environment to maybe what he has here in the Asia Le Mans Series. Green flag, pit lane open, we're underway.
Is the final question as we get the cars coming out onto the circuit. You're Sven Thompson, you're the team manager, team owner at Nielsen Racing. You're calling their strategy. What do you do? Do you stick with your winning strategy with Rodrigo Sales starting the race, or do you put Matt Bell out and put the young man under pressure?
I think if it was me, I would be sticking with what they know. It worked in Dubai, and you just want to rinse and repeat. You know, Rodrigo Sales had a tricky first race. He had that half spin coming into the final corner, locking the rears, but he recovered really well, got himself back on track. He dialed himself back in very quickly, and he didn't make any more mistakes. And he is fresh to this car and this team, Rodrigo Sales. So it's certainly something that I think that the boys at Nielsen will be going, no, we don't need to mix anything up here. We don't need to try anything different. We don't need to start all of a sudden reinventing the wheel. We kind of know, we stick to our guns and we just play it out as we have done in Dubai.
One quick change to report, as we've got 4 of the 5 cars out for this session so far. It is Paul Di Resta in the number 23 car. It is David Drew in the 39 car out there. 49 in the hands of Dennis Anderson is out there. Not yet seen the 4 car. We do now. Ben Hanley is back out, but it's John Corbett now aboard the number 44 ARC Bratislava car. Neil Muston took to the track for the first session. And as we come through the hotel section, 13-14.
It's Dennis Anderson in the 49, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yeah, there he is. Going through 14. Everything tyres up nicely up to temperature. They're just running on the same tyres that they did the first session with, so that's not too much of a problem.
Dennis has become a familiar name in sports car racing over the recent years, in both the Dallara, initially with High Class Racing, now the Oricas. He's part of the WEC setup last year and is part of the IMSA setup for this coming season. Started their campaign at Daytona last month.
Just seeing the
the purple sectors appear. Paul di Resta gone through the first sector quickest again, and I'm sure that he's going to be building that lap. Not quite as quick as he was in the first session, but you know, using the same tyres, so he's lost that little bit of peak, that a little bit of goodness from the tyre. So let's see what he can put together. But it seems that they had a definite strategy to come out later on in the first session, then keep the tyres warm, start the second session immediately, just get the lap done.
So lap 1 and 2 already, car 39. This car is the Graf Racing car. The tricolour colours, very familiar for Graf Racing. Proudly French squad. A team with a long history in sports car racing that dates back all the way back to Group C days. Graf Racing. And they've been a stalwart part of the European Le Mans Series in recent years in P3 and P2. They'll be back in P2 with this car and this driver lineup in LMP2 Pro-Am for the coming season as well. Yeah, but they'll have to complete this lap and go again.
Yeah, he looked like he backed off there as he came through turn 9, and he is just getting himself going again, but it's not like he's fully on it right now.
Yeah, he's got Paul di Resta far behind him in sector 3. Complete this lap. In fact, di Resta's ahead of him. So it's a 1:39.962 from Paul di Resta.
And Ben's not too far away. He's maybe a couple of tenths off in that first sector, and he is looking like he is going to go close in the second sector. Paul's already started his second flying lap, and he's pretty much equaling his personal best from the first timed session with a 20.484 in the first sector. And is he going to be able to beat his time from first qualifying? Oh, he's just had a little bit of a lock-up coming into turn 7.
What's that going to do to the sector time? See very shortly. Ben Hanley, by the way, is in the final sector to set his first effort here. It's 1:39.962 for Paul di Resta. Dennis Anderson is through in the 1:45s. It's another purple sector, so whatever that was in terms of lock-up, it's not stopped him from improving. We wait for Ben Hanley to complete his lap.
Yeah, Ben looks about 3 tenths, 4 tenths off, but he's in that final sector, which they were struggling in with that first session against the United car. So we'll get to see where he pops up, and he does a 1:40.485. So he's P2.
He's pushing here. There's a couple of times when he's had to gather the car back together here. So 1:39.962 becomes what? A 1:30. No, he's off. It's 1:40.008 for Paul di Resta. He did seem to have a wiggle coming through 15.
Yeah, he lost the car there a little, and that was the time that was where he lost the time. But it looks like Ben is.
It's not on a flying lap this time.
No, he's cruising, isn't he?
So 1:39.9 plays a 1:40.4. That's the number 23 from this car, the number 4 car. Then we've got the 3 LMP AM cars, and still lap time has been deleted here, this time for the ASC Bratislava car in the hands of John Corbett. David Drew leads the LMP2 AM class 3rd overall at the moment, 1:42.
And actually, car 4 has had its lap deleted for track limits at turn 1, so
I wonder if that was why he's lifted off.
Yeah, he knows.
And Paul di Resta lifts right off as well. David Drew comfortably clear of Dennis Anderson here. Dennis not really looking like he's on the pace here today.
No, he's
whether or not they're working a completely different task here.
They're still working on the setup, or they're just trying to get it into the zone, or the fact that we're running so early in the morning here, it's just different for them, and track conditions have just caught them out slightly.
I was about to say that that was a good lap from John Corbett, got within a 10th of Dennis Anderson. He lost that one to track limits.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be a common comment from all of the drivers who I've spoken to that this new tarmac and areas that have been repaved, this area that we're looking at right now around the hotel, that the cars are quite pointy, which means that the rear of the car is breaking loose, either on entry or the midpoint of the corner, or even on power off, and you can see that with the Graf Racing car as we follow it through. It does look rather pointy. Every little input on the wheel is wagging the tail of the car.
Good first sector from Ben Hanley on his next flying lap. Close to pole pace on that first sector. Can he maintain that through the remainder of the lap? Remember, it's a short first sector here. It's about 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's that final sector. If he can deliver it in the final sector,
correct. Yeah,
then he's going to be in with a shout. But he has been off the United car there.
It's so different,
all
isn't it?
weekend.
It's so different. You know, you've got this kind of now really flowing middle part of this racetrack, and all of a sudden, it's like a Scalextric track.
it does.
Really is.
Yeah, it really is a track of sort of two halves or two sort of major sections. And it can be tricky to get the car set up for.
So again here, after the second sector, Hanley on pace is just over a tenth off pole pace. But it's been the final sector, you're completely correct, Ollie. You know, it's the one where he's lost tenths in the final sector, and it's a fairly short final sector.
It is. And he comes across the line now, and does he improve? No, he doesn't. Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
he does. No, he doesn't. He's again lost time in that final sector. So here's the point. He was 0.138 down on pole pace. He lost a further 4 tenths in 37 seconds.
He did. And that, again, it just comes through. Is it that section 13, 14, all that off-camber racetrack, and then into 15? Is the car becoming too pointy? Is he just losing the rear of the car? He doesn't have the confidence just to attack the corners. Here we're watching Paul di Resta go for another lap.
I think he's done. I think he's been told that Ben Hanley's lifted off, and he has lifted off, and I think that's it done.
Yeah. He was most probably preparing himself to go for another lap.
Just in case.
And the team just saw Hanley's time and just radioed and said, no need.
Well, they'd have said the first two sectors, it's pretty close. So, you know,
prepare the car, get the tyres going,
get
make
ready.
sure, prepare yourself for a qualifying lap. And then have just, almost like they radioed him at the apex of turn one and said, no, don't need to do that.
So first and second on the grid are more or less done. David Drew has pitted the 39 car and has got a comfortable margin here. Quick look in the mirrors there from Paul di Resta, lets Dennis Anderson go by. So the 23 car, this car will be on pole position for tomorrow's race. And that's an hour later, isn't it? That's not 3:30 local? Or is it 4:30 local?
Yes.
Tomorrow. But keep an eye on where that equates to wherever you are in the world. We are GMT plus 4 hours here in the United Arab Emirates and in Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE. So 23 car pole position. It'll be the number 4 car alongside this car.
Been going quite slowly
Isn't
back
he?
to the pits. I'm not sure whether he's managing something or he's talking with the team or he's got an issue, but it is rather slow and pedestrian coming back to the pits.
It'd be David Drew third, so on the second row of the grid, and the pole car in LMP2 AM for Graf Racing, the 39 car. John Corbett has completed his run. He is ahead of Dennis Anderson now, but Dennis almost matches that. So it is di Resta, Hanley, Drew, Corbett, Anderson. United Autosports from Nielsen Racing, Graf Racing, ARC Bratislava and the Ligier and High Class Racing complete that 5-car grid. Not a stunner in terms of entertainment, but what it does display as the 23 car goes through to the scrutineering bay, as the successful cars in qualifying must.
Yep.
But what it does display is United in extremis appear to have an edge, but the 4 car, as we see that car pull into the scrutineering bay, they want the fight.
They do. They do, and it's going to be great to have that competition back in P2, and United have certainly brought their best game here. Paul di Resta delivering in both of those qualifying sessions with pole position. A little bit closer in that second one. Maybe if Ben had just managed to string together that final sector, we could have really seen a great tight battle. But this really looks like United have about at least half a second of pace over Nielsen. But the race is long. And they've got a tried and tested lineup in their car. And so, I think Nielsen will be confident that they can deliver a stronger attack over the whole race. And United are definitely going to be blooding, Josh Pearson, that whole lineup of him, start. It looks like he's going to start the races. That's what he said in the interview. And so, that's going to be a real test for the young lad. But it's one of the reasons why they're here.
Absolutely. And I think that's the point, is what are the reasons these teams are here? Well, obviously, the teams that have been here for the full season are here to try to win the Asia Le Mans Series and an automatic invitation to the Le Mans 24 Hours. But in no small part, and particularly because of this quick-fire format, they're here too to prepare themselves for what comes next in the season. In particular, Nielsen Racing will be keen, as you quite rightly say, to blood their effort here, to test their effort, to see where the strong points, the weak links, not just in the driver lineup, but in terms of the way they prepare the car, in terms of the way the team operates. Are they good enough yet in the pit stops and the driver changes? All of that's going to be vitally important as they prepare to take on the challenge of winning this title, getting that nailed in. They're moving forward to the European season and the Le Mans 24 Hours, they hope.
Yeah, no doubt. It's certainly something that's super important. You've got a new driver lineup, drivers that are also unfamiliar with that sort of class of car, P2 car, P3, GT. We've got all three of those classes here this weekend at Yas Marina in the Asia Le Mans Series, and it's a real test for a lot of drivers and also a lot of team personnel.
One interesting note we've just seen pop up from Race Control is that Car 4, that's the Nielsen Racing car, currently second place in qualifying, is under investigation for possibly blocking the 49 car. Now that was Ben having lifted off a lot. To see whether or not he just cruising around to the pits. But did he get in the way of Dennis Anderson, who was in a fight, by the way, for fourth position?
Yeah, it might have been just that point we saw, or just before we saw Ben coming down into turn 9. He was going very slowly. He was just cruising along, and whether that's something that happened maybe coming through turn 5, 6, 7, 8, you don't know where it was. We didn't see it, but yeah, that's always the thing about qualifying. You've got to be, after you've done your lap and you're slowing down, you've got to be so in the mirrors. You've got to be listening to the team on the radio. They can be helping to spot for you where cars are out there on the track. We all have this track map. We can follow the separate cars as they're going around on the circuit. So maybe Ben wasn't alerted to that.
Right, there we go. Well, there could be dramas to follow there. We're not calling that. That's for Eduardo Freitas and Race Control to decide. But it's 2 double poles again in the LMP classes. And that's LMP2 to United Autosports this time, and in LMP3 to DKR Engineering. And then, again, a stellar qualifying session in GT, Ollie, that saw some really close battles to squeeze out the lap times, but between some very different cars. I think that's what everybody's going to be hoping for. We might very well see that we've actually got some cracking battles up and down the field.
Yeah, I think we are going to see some cracking battles. You're right there, Graham, and certainly in that GT class, you've got all of those different classes of car. You've got 7 different manufacturers. You've got front engine, mid engine. You've got rear engine cars. You've got flat 6, straight 6, V8, V10, turbo, non-turbo cars. All these different layouts are really going to spice up the racing. We've seen here this weekend the Porsche come more to the fore in the GT class. Mercedes are right up there. I think McLaren are going to be there on the longer run, and you certainly can't count out the Ferrari. But I think my money this weekend is on the Aston Martin in GT. Well,
it's going to be interesting. They were pretty strong, weren't they? But let's wait and see what actually happens from that.
Absolutely, but I certainly think that we've got some great racing to come, and we've actually got some coming up. We've got some highlights of qualifying. Here we have. Over to you, Graham.
Well, once again, in the Asia Le Mans Series, it's the quick-fire 10-minute qualifying sessions for the 2 races in Abu Dhabi, and it was the GT cars out first. 23 record field in the GT class. Klaus Bachler, the number 33 Herbeth Motorsport car, right in the mix. Johnny Adam, though, would be there taking the pole position in a GT for race 1 on Saturday evening. LMP3 and the Inter-Europol competition car for race 1 was in the mix. So too was Xavier Laveras, the number 26 G-Drive racing car, but peerless once again in qualifying, and this team desperate to get to the end of a race in the same kind of form. DKR Engineering and Lawrence Herr. LMP2, Dennis Anderson out there into the mix first in the 49 high-class racing car. The 39 car from Graf Racing to late into the session, but would take the LMP2 and pole. This time it would be Paul de Resta taking the pole position for United Autosports for race 1 ahead of the 4 Nielsen Racing Orica.
So
not much of a breather before the qualifying sessions for race 2 were underway. HRT with Yas Marina aboard the number 6 Mercedes AMG in the mix. Johnny Adam too looked at one point as if he might make this a double pole position for TF Sport and Aston Martin, but would lose the pole position laps. Klaus Bachler peerless in the number 33 Herbeth Motorsports Porsche 911 GT3R would bring it back home for a first Porsche pole in 2022 in the Asia Le Mans Series. LMP3, and again Xavier Laveras putting in a strong run. Also coming through, the number 3 car, Edward Kaupe, in the championship leading CD Sport cars, but once again, it would be Lawrence Herr, DKR Engineering, and the Decane D08s. They were absolutely untouchable. Can they convert that to a race win on Sunday? LMP2, Paul de Resta, impatient to get out there. And the number 39 Graf car with David Drew would again come back with 3rd place on the grid. The number 4 Nielsen racing car with Ben Hanley looked like he might challenge, but had to settle for 2nd behind this man and this car. 23 United Autosports, Paul de Resta, a 2nd pole position in 2 races.
thank you, Graham. Thanks for that. It was great highlights. Great to see the cars out on track this morning. It's shaping up really nicely for the race at 2:30 this afternoon. I think we're going to see that conditions continue to warm up. That's going to spice things up. It's certainly going to get pretty hot and steamy out there. You know, it's going to be different conditions from what we've just experienced here in qualifying.
The best part of that qualifying session, quite aside from watching the cars in extremis and the pace the cars can actually deliver to Ollie, no major dramas.
Yep.
So we've not got teams scrambling to get to that grid this afternoon. It should be 37 cars for round 3. Race 1 here in Abu Dhabi in just a few hours' time, and it will be under the lights to finish today and under the lights to finish tomorrow for what's so far, we're halfway through, or just a little over halfway through now with the extra point for qualifying for the top of the shop. It's been a cracker thus far, and I just can't wait to see what this field is going to produce. So we saw Paul de Resta there taking pole position, and now Nadia's going to talk to the Scots. She's down in United Autosports Garage right now.
Yes, United Autosports Garage, here we are. And of course, Paul de Resta is next to me. We, of course, want to ask him about the excellent lap just now. Congratulations, double pole right here in Abu Dhabi. So how was it? How are you feeling? How's the car?
Yeah, it's nice. Firstly, I think to be racing in Abu Dhabi, such a special place. But no, I think we've had a very strong car all weekend. And the most important thing was to try and get to the front, but managed to secure both pole positions, like you say. And going into the race, hopefully, Josh, who's starting, can have a nice, clean, easy first stint. The objective of these 2 races for us is certainly to give Josh as much experience as we can. We'll see how we can do that in the next 8 hours of racing.
Fantastic. Now, of course, the race is just a couple of hours away. It's just about an hour or 2. Does that play a part in how the team prepares for the race?
I don't think so. I think we've been fully focused on the race, and to be honest, we've been mainly focused on Josh. You know, United always deliver a very good car, and I think I was very comfortable right from the off. It was the most important thing was to get it to the front to give him a nice, clean, easy, hopefully first stint. But you know, you never know what can happen in this. But you know, our hands are a bit tied because we're only 2 drivers. I'm very limited on what I can do. But at the same time, we'll go out there and see what we can try and do. A win would be very nice, certainly one. And if we could try and get both, it would certainly please the team.
Fantastic. Can't wait to see how you and Josh will team up later on in the race 3 and race 4. And congratulations once again on
Thank
double
you.
pole. There you have it.
Well, thanks for that, Nadia. You know, it's certainly I can certainly see that you know what Paul was saying there, that you know they've got a plan. United are definitely sticking to that, you know, with what Richard was saying to me earlier on in the weekend. You know, it's all about Josh. It's all about just getting him the experience. Yes, it was all about Paul getting to the pole so that Josh can then get out and have a clean run. But also the other thing that we get from that interview is that Paul is only going to be able to drive a very small section of this race, maybe just over an hour that he's going to be able to do. So Josh is going to be doing the lion's share of the driving here. He's going to be starting the race, and more importantly, he's going to be doing that highly pressurized point at the end where he could well be fighting Ben Hanley for the victory.
Could be interesting, couldn't it? It's good to see as well Paul de Resta clearly in relaxed form. He's out here, as I know several of the drivers are, with his family, and I think that's good to see. He's clearly enjoying his motorsport at the start of this 2022 season.
Nice to see.
We're going to be seeing more of him. Lots to kind of unpick as we get towards, with the clock ticking down towards the first of 2 4 hours of Dubai. I hope you've enjoyed the action here. And so we're going to start to roll it down towards the race start. 37 cars, remember, that record 23 car GT entry. If you watched the 4 hours of Dubai, either or both of them, you'll know that was fantastically entertaining, and in particular, Ollie, when we got the LMP cars in the mix with that group.
Yeah, so GT it's been phenomenal. It's been, you know, all of those classes, all of those cars. You know, it's been phenomenal to see how they're interacting on track with the P2 cars and the P3 cars, dealing with that speed difference or not speed difference between P3 and GT. You know, how the P2 cars are picking their way through all of that traffic. I think we're going to see a lot of that today here at Yas Marina. This new layout, I think it's going to promote side-by-side racing. I think it's going to promote overtaking. I think certainly coming off of turn 5 down to turn 6 is great overtaking opportunities, and then off of there down into the new turn 9, this sort of parabolica. I think it's going to be really impressive to see. So I think it's we're seeing lovely shots here of the W Hotel here in Yas Marina, and it's certainly something that it's iconic, and it's set very fair here for a great race here at 2:30 local time.
It is, and iconic in the daylight. It's going to look even more iconic when we get into full darkness. I cannot wait to see how this field changes, how the dynamic for the Asia Le Mans Series grid changes in this very different setting for a 4-hour race under floodlights, as we'll be finishing in darkness this evening. But 23 GT cars, that's going to be a challenge for the LMP3s, the LMP2s throughout this race, and for each other. The LMP2s, there's some dynamics there too. But let's wrap it up for now. We will be back in just a couple of hours' time, and to say goodbye from myself and from Oliver Gavin here in the booth, let's go down to Nadia, who's on pit lane.
That was it. Qualifying sessions here in Abu Dhabi at Yas Marina Circuit. It was electrifying, full of suspense, of course. At the front of the grid later, we will be seeing Paul de Resta's and Josh Pearson's car for United Autosport for LMP2, and they scored a double pole for race 3 and race 4. DKR Engineering once again saw Lawrence Hoare just giving flying laps to get more pole position for race 3 and race 4 for LMP3. And then for the GT class, it was TF Sport for race 3, and also it will be another pole position for them. So don't forget to join us at 2 p.m. for the live show today. Race 3 will flag off just half an hour from that. So of course, we want you to join us here at the Asian Le Mans Series. For now, we will see you very soon. Join us later.